What is going on, A2D family? I'm Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. We are here tonight with a special guest, the Godfather himself, Mr. No Notes, Tom Arnone. Thank you for joining us, Tom.
Yeah, brother. Good to be here. Not special at all. Just good to be here.
Well, appreciate you coming along for the ride tonight. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, Dr. Paul Vidal. He's our doc. Make him yours. That is in the Burlington, Princeton, and Cherry Hill locations. You can also find him at specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Once again, he's our doc. Make him yours. So tonight, it's the third week on the road to victory here at Agree to Disagree. Man, we have had a phenomenal last couple weeks. I've really enjoyed my time here. Can't thank Tom and all the guys enough for all they do. So tonight we're here again, Friday, 7 o'clock. Hope you guys are all having a great night. Thank you for tuning in. And you saw the post. You know what it's about. Tonight we're going to break down, is Carson Wentz an elite quarterback? In a lot of our eyes, yes. But by the end of this year, is he going to be considered elite by the rest of the NFL? Will they finally have to put a sock in it? We're also going to take a little gander at our schedule this year. And we're going to break it down game by game. Take a look at the teams and give our thoughts on what we think the outcome will be. What is up, David? Let's go, Birds! Tom, thank you for joining us tonight, man, once again. We had you on the first week. We talked last week. You were commenting, talked about a few things. Everybody knows how we feel about, this roster right now, so we can touch up a little bit on that. Just give, I saw somebody said this first time. Thank you for tuning in. YouTube viewer, really appreciate that. Trying to spread as far as we possibly can go. So really, really appreciate you tuning in tonight. Good evening to you, Yusef. Thank you for tuning in as well. But last couple weeks we talked about, this roster isn't necessarily done. We like a lot of things that are done. A lot of things are questionable. A lot of the roster spots are very questionable. We're looking at running back. We're looking at left tackle, linebacker. Is the safety position without Malcolm Jenkins? A lot of questions that we've been talking about. So, we know how you feel about Jason Peters. So why don't you just give us a little brush up on, your feelings about this roster as it stands? Who are maybe a couple free agent guys that you would look to add to this roster, seeing as things are now moving forward?
Well, we talked about the other night. So the Eagles' offense is a top 6. I have them 6 overall, and that's with really no agenda. That's based on 11. That's based on some of the conversation we'll get into tonight. All right, but I have them 6. Now, if you ask me defensively, because of Roby Coleman and Slay, but even more so because of Roby Coleman, I up them, and Jalen Mills going back and being able to play a football, be more in a center fielder more. I think this defense. And that's without even Hargrave. I didn't even bring in Hargrave yet, right? And I already have them. Top 10, and I got a feeling there can be a top 5 if they all can be healthy, right? And that's a stretch a little bit, but I have them top 10 because I think that's where they're at. I think they make that big of a jump, and they're even more consistent home and away. And the offense, it's not that I like in love with everything about the offense, right? But I love 11. I love Miles. I love this offensive line. Okay, not as much. I don't know about Dillard yet, but I love the rest of them. Okay, and I know, and my nose, right? I know what Zach Ertz is. Now, can Dallas Goedert take another step? And Jalen Reagor as a rookie wide receiver, I don't want too much pressure on him. So can Deshaun be healthy? Can JJ take a step? So there's some question marks there. But overall, with 11, I had him 6. So I'm happy. And some of the upgrades, I would like a Devontae Freeman. I'd pay for him. And I would like not only Devontae Freeman, I would like an Everson Griffin, right? I think that would be a perfect addition to this front as a rotational guy. You know how we win in this league. You know how it goes. So that's where I'm at. Them 2 additions and maybe the bring back a Jake just to compete. They can be on all. Well, 2 of the guys can be on 1-year deals, right? So you're not going to strap yourself. You got to pay a little extra money for the 1 year. You know what I mean? If you're in it to win it, you're in it to win it. So that's how I look at it. There are 2 additions that I would make that and the only additions I really think they need to make, right? That really say, hey, we might be the best team in the NFC.
I like it, man. What's going on, brother? Thanks for joining in, man.
What's up, guys? What's going on?
Hey, thanks for joining us, brother. We literally just got started. Tom was giving his thoughts on the roster where it stands right now. He had a couple great points. I think this offense, if healthy, could definitely be in the top 5, like he mentioned. He had him at 6 the other day. He mentioned someone like Devontae Freeman and some guys he also talked about on the defensive side, someone like Everson Griffin. When you only have 36 sacks, this is a team predicated off of getting pressure from the front four. And actually 20 of those sacks came in 4 games. So need some pressure. So I'm all for that. What are your thoughts on this roster? Where it stands? What up, Greg? Thanks for tuning in, man.
Offensively, I like where this team is headed. Obviously, you got 11 who, he's hands down to me. He's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the entire league. I would like to see a little bit more depth at the running back position. I like Miles. I think he's going to have a great future moving forward. But just to take a little bit of pressure off of him, bring in, and I agree, a guy like a Devontae Freeman. I would have been okay with Carlos Hyde before he signed with Seattle. I need wide receivers need to stay healthy for sure. And that's definitely going to take some pressure off of JJ. That's going to take some pressure off of Rieger as well. And we basically know where we are tight end wise. We have one of the top 3 in Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, who's showing that he can not only catch the ball, but he can also be a good pass blocking tight end. Could be effective in the run game as well, blocking. Defensively, I'm still a little shaky on still trying to figure out who's who in the defense. Linebacking, we definitely need some linebackers for sure. I would have loved to see him get Patrick Queen or Kenneth Murray. Murray was more my choice. But secondary, I think, has improved a little bit. I still don't know who's going to play on the other side of the slide. Right now it's looking like hopefully Sidney Jones, who could continue to take the steps forward as he was in the last 4 games of last year. And safety positions, I'm good with Rodney where he is. I like to see Miles improve. And I would definitely like to see Kayvon Wallace definitely get some reps and show why he was a steal in the 3rd round of this draft.
Oh, yeah. I think we all could agree to that one. Kayvon Wallace is a great addition. Quite the steal. Definitely started the day off right, day 3, because day 2 was very questionable for us all. But, I agree. And you talk about Kayvon, adding Will Parks in free agency, Jalen Mills being back there. That's a position we all felt that he should have been used anyway. So he's going to be used correctly, hopefully. And that's how you fill a void like Malcolm Jenkins with 3 guys that we just mentioned. But, you talked about the question marks at linebacker. Yep, definitely. But, Davian Taylor, raw. You hear that word a lot when you hear about Davian Taylor. But he's got the skill set, man. If you can coach him up, kid could be an asset, but who knows right away. So we seen what we got from TJ Edwards. We love that. Great against the run. But where is he in pass coverage? Nate Gary, great in pass coverage, but questionable in the run. But he was hurt last year. So definitely question marks. The offense, we talked about a lot of that. And, Dillard, is he ready? Why not have insurance? Miles, we all love Miles. We love Boston Scott, that small sample size we got. But what if, God forbid, somebody gets hurt, So who's there to back them up? Why not have some insurance in Devontae Freeman? You talk about having the greatest tight end duo. We led the league, with like receptions, yards, and tight ends, 4 tight ends. We definitely – and a lot of that is also due to injury. The receivers were rough. We're dealing with Deontay Burnett, Rob Davis, Marcus Green, Sheldon Gibson. So it was rough. But we looked at the additions we made, and you guys talked about them, man. I love the additions we made, man. I cannot be more than excited about the guys we added. So why not add a couple of the guys, though, that were just mentioned? A JP, bring him back. Tom had mentioned, 1-year deals. We understand we're $51 million over the cap next year. We get it. But we have $23.5 million right now. Right now. Go out, sign one of the best left tackles in the game still. Make Dillard compete against more than Matt Pryor, Jordan Mailata, Jack Driscoll, Prince Tagovailoa.
No, I completely agree. I mean, some people say he's not quite ready. I'm one of those people. Let's see what he does against competition with JP one more time. If he proves his worthiness, you start him over JP. If he doesn't, you start JP over Dillard and let Dillard take the backseat for one more year, continue to grow, continue to learn, and JP is a future Hall of Famer.
Agree.
There's no one better to learn from, especially at that left tackle position.
Yep. And me and Tom.
Competition creates greatness. So make guys compete. And, somebody on the defense is linebacker position we didn't talk about, what's it, Latavius Brown, right? Is that who I'm thinking of?
Jatavis Brown, yeah, from the Chargers.
Latavius Brown can play a little bit. So, I mean, I could be like an underrated signing when we talked about some of the defensive additions. But, they're just better. I mean, the defense is 100 times better than they were last year.
Yeah.
When you go out and get an island guy in Slay and the best nickel corner in football in Roby Coleman, you're head and shoulders better. And then you went out, you get a Malik Jackson back that nobody talks about. So you get a Malik Jackson back, which is almost like a free agent signing because he played, a quarter last year? 2? Was it 3? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Around there. That's like a free agent signing. Now most of his production from getting to the quarterback even more came from the end position a little bit in Jacksonville too. So he can play both, obviously. But just the addition of Hargrave allows you to go out and now move Malik outside a little bit too. If you don't bring in another guy up front, which I'm fine with because I like Derek Barnett, even though people hate him. I'm okay with him because I think he has a motor, and I think motors work in this league. But I'll keep saying it. I think the defense has the capability of being a top 10, if not a little bit higher. Well, we'll see. That a little bit that's going to determine, what production you do get from your linebackers. But overall, I think they did a great job.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree too. I mean, like you just said, Tommy, the linebacker position is the only question mark I have. I got faith in the line. I got faith in the secondary as well. We know that we just need to get a little bit more pressure on the quarterback, rush him a little bit more, keep him uncomfortable. And you're going to see balls getting taken away because quarterbacks are going to be uncomfortable in the pocket.
Definitely. And, we talk about, last week, that was the roster breakdown, the additions we made. Jatavis Brown was one of the guys. But, Tom, I appreciated you guys made a little clip of that, me giving some love to Javon Hargrave. That was a big signing for me because, like Tom just mentioned, when we talked about this allows Malik Jackson to move outside, inside. This gives us depth. Ridgeway was also hurt last year. He comes back with a 1-year deal. You have quite the rotation. Now Fletcher Cox is not going to be getting double teamed. You've got Hargrave and Jackson there. That's huge. Tom mentioned, I think that a lot of people hate Derek Barnett, and he does not deserve all the hate he gets because, he has almost the same production as Clowney. And people want to say, oh, well, people double teamed him. Well, our defense wasn't the greatest last year. Brandon Graham was there, but Cox was hurt. We were using so many different guys. Sweat looked great. I love him. But, it's very, very questionable at linebacker. So I'm with you guys, bringing in people like Jatavis Brown, drafting Sean Bradley, Davian Taylor. That's great and all, but very questionable. So do you bring in a Mark Barron, a Deron Lee? There's guys out there that could be a veteran leader that could possibly come in. Does Nigel Bradham come back? So I'm with you on that. And I see at the bottom here, a couple people agreeing, a couple people disagreeing to the poll. I don't think people are seeing what we saw, a quarterback that threw for over 4,000 yards without a receiver, going over 500. How phenomenal he did against, some really good defenses. And, I think with weapons around him now and a running game with Miles Sanders, I think people are going to find out. What do you guys think about that poll? Do you think Carson Wentz is elite? And do you think by the end of this year, everyone's just going to have to finally just eat it and admit that, he is elite?
Tom, you want to go first?
Yeah, it don't matter. I mean, I think we're going to have the same.
Tom?
We're going to answer it the same. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, listen, all you got to do is just be healthy, right? I know it's easier said than done at times, but that's all that has to happen. If he's just healthy at the end of the year, he's in the conference. Everybody will start talking to him as one of the elites. That's all that's really going to matter. I disagree with Rob to a point for at the end of this year, he has to win the Super Bowl. That Rob doesn't think that. He's saying the fans, a lot of the fans will think that. But no, I think the majority and the national media even if he's healthy and wins a playoff game, you know what I mean? I think that they'll start talking to him. They'll start talking about him as one of them elite guys. Does he need to win a Super Bowl himself? Air quote. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of good quarterbacks do. But, to be elite, look what he's done with nothing. I mean, I don't know another quarterback that did more with nothing last year. I mean, I don't think there is one. So until that just goes over people's heads because he got hurt in the playoff game. And it just goes over people's heads that, wow, I mean, this guy rallied a bunch of troops with absolutely – that was I don't want to say garbage because that's not fair to NFL players, but, trashish.
Not good. I mean, when you're getting – the post, where people – who? And you're like, I'm posting the stats and who he is. Like, I'm trying to tell you. But, Brian, what do you think about Carson Wentz and him being elite?
Oh, I definitely think he's borderline elite at the moment. We saw what he did in 2017. That was elite level play, in my opinion. He was on the verge of being the league MVP that year before the injury playing LA. He had a little struggle the next year before playing 11 games last year. I struggled a little bit at times trying to find his groove last year. He started to find his groove a little bit later. He struggled a little bit, but the one thing that Tommy didn't mention, and I agreed with just about everything, was look at his play in the red zone. I think that's a big part of what makes a quarterback elite.
Talked about that on the red zone. Show. That's why. I feel like I talked about this conversation on a million shows, but I mean that's something we talked about. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yep. You're right. It's crazy.
21 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
That's elite level play right there. I mean,
money. That's a money zone, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's where you're getting paid, right?
For sure.
Score touchdowns. So, I mean, I don't know what else he needs to do to put himself in that conversation, but just be fully healthy. And last year, a great positive is no back restrictions, right? So when you talk about things that can heal, everything else, surgeries, blah, 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 your head really doesn't heal, but, you don't want concussions, but everything else, like you don't want a back injury, and you don't want a back injury to linger because they're terrible, especially at the quarterback position. And the fact that wasn't an issue last year is a positive note to me. That means he wasn't laboring on that knee anymore. And now I think another whole year, no injury coming into this year and no lower body, back down injury coming into this year. I think it bodes well for him. You saw the escapability come back, and it came back when? Sort of 8 games in, you started to see it more and more, right? As he got more comfortable. It's all about comfortability when you come back from injuries like that, right? It's all about comfortability. Back, knee, doesn't matter. It's all about comfortability. So you saw the comfortability come back, and then look what happened. So, I mean, to anybody out there that doesn't think he is, they don't watch him enough, like we do here in Philadelphia. And, you won't say, well, a lot of Philadelphia fans don't like him. They're the idiot side. Right, I mean they're the ones that don't really matter. We brush them aside. We're like, it's like this, it's like the little brother. Stop it, all right? He's like an idiot now.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, and that's exactly Rob. I just saw at the bottom here made that statement. To the casual, well, and they're not the casual fan. We don't know them. We really don't know. They might have jumped along after the 2017 season, but for the people that watch, they are amazed at what this kid has been able to do. And sure, maybe he was rushed back, after that injury in 17, and that's where some of those crappy numbers you get. And, his first season, sure. And he does have a fumble issue. But when you look at those red zone numbers, that's elite, man. When the time comes for him to be elite, he always steps up, man. And I was impressed, more than impressed with what he did with that team last year. Every week, you guys know how it felt. We're like, we're bringing up guys from the practice squad, guys from the Titans, from bringing Shelton Gibson back. That's when you're like, oh, God. We're in trouble now. Like, I mean, dear Lord, it was very rough. And, top 5 here, Yusef says. And, Yusef, I'm not sure if you made the statement. I think you said maybe you were a Redskins fan. We will definitely jump on that because that is week 1. But, Carson's definitely top 5. And it's got to be tough, in this division because you've seen it. And we took out all those division opponents, in the final weeks. We did what we had to, those last 4 games to win and get in the playoffs. Sure, we took that cheap shot, man, and that that killed us all because Carson actually stayed healthy. And like Tom said, it was actually a full season of him, no lower body injuries, and that's huge. Him getting comfortable, him moving around in the pocket. We needed to see that. We got to see it. Thank God it wasn't, an injury that happened somewhere in there. So I'm excited about this year because now he's got weapons. So he's not going to have to get killed, hopefully, as much. He'll have now, and that comes back to Dillard, though, so bring JP back.
Well, week 1's going to be fun, but I mean, you're going to find out week 1. I mean, listen, there's no training wheels if he's a starter. It's like you're going to take training wheels off. I mean, you're getting one of the better pass rushers around coming at you. Week 1, I don't care if he's a rookie or not, coming right at you. So
and Kerrigan, and they have Josh Allen. I mean, they've got themselves an arsenal of guys that Daron Payne's in there. They've actually got themselves quite a defense. So
Sweat too,
and Montez Sweat. Oh yeah, that's a guy I was really high on. I was bummed, and I like Josh Sweat. I'm pumped about our Sweat that we got, but yeah, that's quite the pass rush and D line that they have going there. So I'm pumped about that, and I'll definitely if you guys want to just roll into that, actually. We have the Redskins week 1. We're going on the road. I'm not saying any game in the NFL is easy, but luckily it's not a tougher game. It's an opponent we somewhat know, but actually a little different. Got themselves a new head coach, Ron Rivera. Now, Dwayne Haskins is supposedly the starter, but we don't know.
Your defense coordinator.
Yep, exactly. And you bring in Kyle Allen, and exactly. So you see a lot of guys from the Panthers came over and some influx of stuff like that. They lost Josh Norman. Oh, my Lord. They replaced him with Darby. Can't wait to see him week 1. That's going to be very pleasant. Dunbar up to no good, leaving the Redskins there. I'm just Chase Young. Great pick by them. They also added guys like Gibson, and Antonio Gandy Golden. Woo! So some good playmakers because they lost guys like Chris Thompson and stuff. But what do you think of the Redskins? And what do you think about that first matchup? Brian, why don't you start us off?
Well, I mean, bringing in Juan Rivera is a great move for the Redskins. It's something that they've needed badly over the last couple of years was changing of the guard. I don't think Jay Gruden has been that guy who could really amp his team up. Defensively, I always thought that the Redskins were a very, very tough team to play. Offensively, though, they've not really had much success, in my opinion. I mean, Alex Smith was probably one of the better options they had before trading him. Breaking his leg. Bringing in Dwayne Haskins. I'm not sold on him offensively. Darius Geis has been a guy they've been hyping up, but can't stay on the field. So they bring in a guy like AP. AP showing that he can still play. But after him, the running game doesn't really scare me too much. Terry McLaurin is really the only wide receiver that scares me. Jordan Reed, another guy, I'm not even sure if he's still playing.
Nope.
With all the injuries that he's had.
Not for them.
Vernon Davis showing a little signs of life. I mean, offensively, there's options there. But ultimately, they don't scare me, really. I mean, if they can get a lead on the Redskins, I think the Eagles can cruise.
Yeah, and you talk about that lack of a run game. They added Peyton Barber and J.D. McKissick, try to replace Chris Thompson and Darius Geis. You said struggle with injury. Hopefully Scary Terry can be held down by someone like Darius Slay. That's why, Tom said the excitement from getting the guy that you can put on an island. That's where that excitement comes in. I'm more than excited about that. But, yeah, they've lost a guy like Trent Williams. That's huge. So, Tom, what do you feel, is going to happen week 1 when we go on the road to the Redskins? Not too far away.
Yeah, and, they got Thaddeus Moss to play tight end. So that's a good addition to their to a young offense. I like the Washington Redskins more than most people do. I think they're the sleeper team out of these. When you want to talk about the Giants or Redskins, it's to me the Redskins are more of are that sleeper. Most people have them going 5-11, right? So I get that. 5-11, 6-10, whatever the case may be. But I think their defense and their front is what could shock a lot of people and can win them some more games and keep them in games. But overall, I mean, we're the better football team, but the Redskins down there always play us tough. It's always usually a tough game, at least early on. So I feel like it's going to be a dogfight, especially week one. A new coaching staff, new defense coordinator, and Jack Del Rio too. So I like what they've done defensively. I think that's going to keep them in a lot of football games. But we're going to find out a lot about our offense. But I don't think their secondary is good enough. So I mean, they have major question marks. But they have a real good front, new coaching staff. I don't think their offense is great. I think Haskins is okay, but I still think it's a game we win.
Yeah, and I agree with both of you. I don't think they've really made the additions that make them too much of a threat to us, but they're always a threat. We know this. They're a division opponent. It's always a tough game, but we're going to their house. And, I agree with Tom. I think, a lot of people sleep on them, but they're another team where it comes down to health. Darius, guys, if he can stay healthy and allow, AP to just come in and help that workload, they both kind of help each other. AP with age, guys with his injuries. So a lot riding on that, and they're very, very young. Secondary, very questionable. We're going to really hope that with the time that these people are receiving now, you're learning different states and different times, all that good stuff, but people are getting together that can, and you saw Carson with a couple of his receivers. That's awesome. So get the work in now. Let's hope by week one we're toasting Ronald Darby. So, I couldn't agree more with you. But I think that they are a team that, could definitely be better. Would they win 3 games last year, 3-13? So maybe they win 6 or 7, but Tom's right. I think they could definitely be better than the Giants. Giants lost some key pieces, but they have Saquon, obviously. But I don't know. What do you think about the Redskins as being, a sleeper, Brian?
I mean, I definitely think they could be. I mean, like I said, I love the Juan Rivera signing. He's one of the better defensive-minded coaches in the NFL. And to Tommy's point, that defense, that front seven's good. That front seven is going to keep, the pressure on the offenses. They're going to keep the Redskins in these games, and it's going to come down to just the intestinal fortitude of Dwayne Haskins. He's going to be able to convert on those big plays, big third downs. So yeah, I mean, I could totally see him being a sleeper team. Absolutely.
Yeah, so we're not hating on the Redskins. We just all kind of agree that we think the Eagles are in a better position to beat them, but not a team to be slept on. So could be a challenge, just like last year where we had to come out swinging. We've faced them 3 out of the last 4 season openers. So very interesting. But then week 2, we come back home. Then we take on the Los Angeles Rams. Sean McVay. They brought in offensive coordinator now, actually. They used to be a team that ran like we are now. McVay was essentially just the offensive coordinator. Brought Kevin O'Connell over from the Redskins, a guy that McVay is friends with, really likes, one of those offensive-minded guys. So that's a big loss for the Redskins. But, speaking of losses, the Rams, got rid of Gurley, Cooks, Littleton on defense, Fowler, very surprising. They did draft a couple guys, Cam Akers, I like, Van Jefferson. But I don't think they're as great as they were a couple years ago. And what were they, 9-7 last year? So I think we could definitely pull out a win there. But, Tom, why don't you start us off on your thoughts about the Los Angeles Rams?
Well, I mean, I still think they're a good football team. So this one's a tough one because I have the Eagles going 2-0 to start off the year. A team that usually doesn't come out that hot. So but I mean, they still got enough over there. They still have enough weapons. Jared Goff. You would think this is going to be a really big year for him. It has to be, right? He didn't have a great year last year, inconsistent. Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp's back with them, correct? Now he's healthy. Yeah. So that's the big thing there for Jared Goff is he get a healthy Cooper Kupp all year. So that's going to be so important to that offense, even more so than the loss of Gurley, because Gurley wasn't even playing. It was the loss of Kupp that slowed their offense down dramatically because that was his go-to guy. So getting Cooper Kupp back, their defense to me is still good. I mean, when you got Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey floating around your defense, you're good. So that's a tough game. So at home, that's a game we should win. So I'll say we win that game and go to 2-0.
I like it, man. I like it. And I agree with you. Definitely not a team to be slept on. They still have some great players. That defense. Offense, questionable, with Henderson there, and then, drafting Cam Akers. But like you said, Cooper Kupp coming back is huge for them. Getting a guy like Van Jefferson out there, that's going to help Cooper Kupp get even more catches. So I definitely think it'll be a challenge, but I think we could win that one 2-0. Brian, why don't you go ahead and let us know how you feel about the Rams in week 2 at home?
I definitely think it's going to be a challenge of a game, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I think we got two good defenses going head-to-head. It's going to slow up offense. I think it could wind up being a very low-scoring game. Eagles definitely have the edge in the running game. I mean, I heard a lot of good things about Cam Akers coming out of the draft. So hopefully they can get some kind of running game going, which they were unable to do with Gurley last year, which is why I think it had a huge reason why they let him go. And outside of Cooper Kupp, I don't really know many of their receivers. So I think Jared Goff definitely needs to come out and have a better year than he had last year. And I think he needs to target his tight ends a little bit more. I think to take some of that pressure off of Cooper. Kind of turn it like a Philly style, but I know that's probably not going to happen. But
Robert Woods is good. Robert Woods is good.
Yeah, and Josh Reynolds was looking good too. So I mean, they do have some decent.
Robert Woods is probably their best guy.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, I had him in fantasy last year.
He's losing Cooks hurts him a little bit, but he's been banged up too. But I think getting Cooper Kupp back and Evan Woods is better than having Cooks and Kupp. So I think they made the right decision.
Agreed.
Yeah,
and
I still
a bigger
think
guy like Jefferson.
Yeah, Eagles could still pull it out, but I mean, I think this is going to be a bigger dogfight than the Washington game because you got two solid defensive lines, one being led by Aaron Donald, the best defensive end in the league, one of the best players in the league. It's they're going to be in your face all day. They're going to be making Carson Wentz uncomfortable all day. So he's gonna really need to rely on getting the ball out quick, especially in that game.
I agree with you, and I also agree with the sentiment that Aaron Donald, probably the best defensive player in the game. That guy is a wrecking ball. So we're gonna have our hands full, but pray that he doesn't go outside to Dillard because he's gonna have 2 tough tests. And then, he'll have a tough one week 3. He actually is going to have a lot of tough tests that we're going to talk about. So it's going to be very interesting. I saw one of the comments earlier was the draft grade. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. We all like the draft. Some questionable. We're all questioning Hurts, though, but around the B area, I would say, what do you guys quickly think that the draft looks like?
C+, I gave it.
Yeah, I'm about the same, C+.
Yeah, when I had to do a grade, and I hate doing them, I gave it a B-. And then after I got to look at it after a couple of days, I'm like, all right, if I look past Jalen Hurts, I really liked the depth we had in other places. So I was a fan of that draft. I thought, we needed to do a lot of things, and we did a lot of those things. But I think adding free agents as depth right now is the next step, and I think the Eagles will take that step. So have patience, slow and steady, maybe. That's what wins the race. But then week 3, we stay home, and we have the Cincinnati Bengals, first pick of the draft, Joe Burrow coming. He's got A.J. Green, who's staying there. They got T. Higgins. Defense has lost some pieces. They still have some good guys on that line, Dunlap and Atkins. But, they added people like Trey Waynes, who we've burnt plenty of times. So I don't know if he'll have found his footing by that time, week 3, that Jim won't be able to just tee off on him. So I'm liking that game too at home. So Brian, why don't you start us off this time? What are your thoughts about the Bengals at home?
I think this has the potential to be a shootout. I love that Bengals offense. Offensive line I think they still have a couple of question marks on the offensive line, but I mean, they got a ton of weapons on that offense. They got A.J. Green coming back healthy. They got Tyler Boyd, who's shown that he can ball out in this league. Joe Mixon's another guy who's come into the league and shown that he can really play. John Ross is another one. And then you bring in a guy like Joe Burrows, who, he's a question mark. I mean, he's had a great collegiate career, enough to be the number 1 overall pick. But we've seen number 1 overalls, kind of underachieve early. But I think that's the only question mark. But if Joe Burrow comes out firing and he shows that he can ball, I think we have a potential of having a shootout in Philadelphia against the Cincinnati Bengals.
I like where your head's at, to be honest with you, when you look at it that way. They do have a lot of weapons, but I think when it comes to A.J. Green, that's why you bring in Darius Slay. I think John Ross, wherever you're lining him up outside, hopefully someone like a Maddox or Jones will have shown who the true number 2 is by then. Then you got Roby Coleman, who Tom had said, probably, in my opinion, too, the best nickel in the game. So I'm really liking those additions. But you're right. This definitely don't sleep on this matchup. So, Tom, what are your thoughts? And all these games so far are 1 o'clock games, so we're getting our usual 1 o'clockers in. But this is our second home game. Tom, what do you feel about the Bengals at home?
Well, I mean, it should be a win, right? I mean, if we're the team we think we are, it should be a win. But, I agree that the Bengals, should be able to score some points, you would think. But, a rookie quarterback, week 3 on the road, hostile environment. I mean, coming off I don't know. I mean, coming off 2 big wins, is it a little bit of a letdown? Do they play down the competition? I don't know. It should be a win. I mean, there's plenty of other losses on this schedule, so maybe they get off to a hot start. I'll give it a win.
I agree with you. And it's like, I looked at it the same way. I'm like, I got to give them some losses, right? I'm like, well, why not start off hot? Because you would hope that these games are a team that, when healthy, could actually beat. So I agree with you guys. Looking like we could start off pretty hot, but right after you start hot, you're looking at a tough matchup ahead. You're going on the road all the way across the country. San Francisco 49ers, the defending NFC champions. These guys are no joke. Added Trent Williams, who we've dealt with over and over again. They've lost some guys like Emmanuel Sanders, traded us, Marquise Goodwin, but they've got the weapons. Deebo Samuel, lots of weapons. Kittle. So we know what we're looking at with a running team like that. But, we went ahead and got Rich Scangarello from him, a guy that's helped Kyle Shanahan, been an assistant of him. So we're trying to implement some of those things. So it's going to be a very interesting matchup, but a tough one, to say the least. Tom, why don't you start us off? Let us know what your thoughts are on this San Francisco 49ers matchup.
This is Niners on the road.
Yeah.
All right.
Night game, our first primetime game, too.
Primetime game on the road. Ooh. Do I got to go 4-0? I mean, do I got to go 4-0? I mean, this happens sometimes when I do this. Or way too early. I get a little excited. I can't believe I'm saying that. I think we're the better football team. But
I agree with you.
Their place on the road, I'm going with it, top. 4-0. 4-0 to start it off. Let's go. Let's go. Statement game on the road. A similar statement game we had in 2017 when we went to Carolina. I look at like a little similar prime timer like that. Big statement win. Big statement. Bosa might embarrass Stewart. Yeah, that's very true. That John, 100%. that could very well happen. And so could Chase Young, and the list goes on. But I think that's gonna be that kind of statement game for this football team to sort of propel their 2020 year.
Definitely. And it's comical, every game here is going to be question mark because we're going against some tough ends. So that's why me and Tom are very strong on the train of make sure you have somebody behind Dillard that's going to make us feel safe at night. Because if Dillard can beat JP, okay. But and I'm a believer too, Brian. I'm a believer in Dillard, but you got to beat him. So, Brian, why don't we get your thoughts on this?
Well, I'm a believer in re-signing JP as well, so I'm just going to put that out there. The Niners,
you can do
both. You could definitely do both. I don't know. I feel like the Niners defense carried them a lot of the way last year to get them down to the Super Bowl, but we know they're a very tough defensive team. We know they have the offensive weapons. I think this could potentially be a very low-scoring game. I think the Eagles will give the Niners a run for their money, but ultimately, I don't know. I don't know if the Niners defense is going to really show much give. And I think this is where the Eagles get their first loss is going to be against San Francisco. I think they're just going to have their hands full a little too much with San Fran.
And I can totally see where you're coming from, and their defense is tough. I mean, we could definitely agree on that. They traded away DeForest Buckner. That was a surprise move, but they showed you why. They backed it up. They went and got Javon Kinlaw. Great addition for them. They added Brandon Ayuk to that offense as well in the draft. So you're looking at a team that's looking to get back to greatness. So it's going to be quite the challenge for the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm torn because I love Tom's energy, and I want to agree with him because it's like, this is our chance to make a statement game. And if we can hold, and this is going to be every damn pass rusher, but if we can hold Bosa, if we can hold that defense, if Carson Wentz can beat Carson Wentz, we can beat anyone. Because you remember 2017, like Brian mentioned, this team was dominating, the best defense is the Broncos. Even Nick Foles dominated the Vikings. So this offense can do it to anybody. So I'm pretty torn. I don't know who to give the losses to. I'm going to have to give them to somebody. I want to say that it's going to be, someone like the Niners. So I think, I'm going to have to agree with Tom, though, and I think we could definitely beat the Niners. I think we're the better team. I really do.
Boston can come. You know what I mean? I can sprinkle some in. I said more the divisional losses, A, B, C, and D. But these are football games that I think we can win early on. And I think we can be better than the Niners. If we can make them one-dimensional and stop the run game, something we do extremely well up front. So remember that going into this game. We stop the run well.
Exactly.
And now we can defend guys. So, I mean, I think that's a recipe for a lot of success this year. Now, no, Rob was talking 16 and 0. I ain't going there. I know I always joke about that, but there'll be plenty of losses sprinkled in. But I think we're just a better football team. I truly do. If we're healthy in week 4, even if they're healthy, I think we're better. I
mean, from here on out through the schedule, it's a very tough schedule for the Eagles. You got a lot of tough teams coming up.
Definitely. And this is a tough one. Even this is our beginning of the tough stretch here. There's a tough stretch at the end. I mean, every game in the NFL, obviously, we know is tough. But, I mean, this is going to be a tough one. And, like Tom said, though, I agree with him. I think that when we're healthy, we're the better team. And this is something we talked about on the video last week. We are finally trying to get back to a team. Do you remember? Even when we started kind of sucking there for a little bit, we still had a team that we're like, well, at least we know we're going to stop the run. We're going to stop the run this week. We're not going to get ran all over. We're looking like we could get back to that. So that's huge. And if you're a team that comes out and your whole offense is premised off of running the damn ball, if you stop that, that's huge. I'd like to see what Jimmy G can do when we get to him. So this is going to be a tough one. And I agree with both of you, win and lose. So this is going to be crazy. And we don't even know what our offense looks like right now or our defense, special teams. Everybody knows that there's a lot of things that need to happen. And they need to happen quickly, obviously. But, this is every team. Every team's going to be struggling, and we have no clue if they're going to be at full strength, if we're going to be at full strength. So when we get there, we'll see. But for now, take it all with a grain of salt. We're just giving you, what we feel, looking at the roster, schedule, everything, where we're at right now. And, going on the road in a night game, it's going to be tough, but that's a chance for us to make a statement. And then you come back to Pennsylvania. Man, you got the Pittsburgh Steelers. They should have Ben Roethlisberger back at the helm. Added a guy like Chase Claypool to the offense, and I really think, we whooped up on them with Carson a few years ago, but it's 34-3. Love that. But I think this is going to be a barn burner. I think this could definitely turn into a shootout, a very enjoyable game. Their defense, once they added Minkah Fitzpatrick, really turned it up last year. I think this could be a challenge for us. Brian, I'd love to have you start us off this time. What are your thoughts on this matchup? On the road, but in this Pennsylvania matchup in Pittsburgh.
If we're talking last year, I got Eagles all over. But yeah, week 5, you're potentially looking at, if we're looking at the roster right now, a healthy Ben Roethlisberger, a full season with Minkah Fitzpatrick as a safety, a healthy James Conner, who looks like he's putting that work in with that big old muscle back that he's got now. I think there's a lot. I think Pittsburgh has a lot of weapons that could do some damage. Obviously, you're going to have Slay on Juju most of the night. What's his name? John Washington, I think his name is. Who's going to be on the other side?
James Washington.
James Washington. He's a guy who could play as well.
Deontay Johnson. Wasn't James Washington a few years ago, actually?
I thought I had him on my fantasy team this past year, so
maybe that was possible. But I remember they have a slew of young guys, Deontay Johnson, and maybe it was that James Washington. I remember who I'm thinking of. But yeah, you're right. And yeah, so but keep going, man. I agree with you.
I mean, there's weapons there. I mean, if James Conner can show that he's that runner that he was the year after the year that Le'Veon Bell held out, you got problems. You got problems. And the biggest question to me is Ben Roethlisberger going to show his age? Is he going to show that he's going to slow down? And that's a big thing because we know that defense in Pittsburgh is amped up now that they got Minka there, and they kind of took it to that next level. So I mean, this is going to be a tough matchup for the Eagles. I could see him just by the skin of their teeth pulling a late field goal out, beating the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And Tom, what are your thoughts on this Pennsylvania matchup?
Loss. No, I mean, this is just one of them games. Tough place to play. I love Mike Tomlin. We talked about it the other night. Yeah, last night on our draft of coaches when we did our end of our A2D NFL draft series, and then we're going to get into basketball and other ones. But to the end of it, and Tomlin, I picked 4 overall, and I actually picked him over Doug. It was between Doug and Tomlin at that point. And Mike Tomlin, his track record of never having a season under 500 with some of the years that he's been dealt with too. So, it's always a well-coached football team. The addition of Devin Bush that we didn't talk about though, as well as Minka, but the addition of Devin Bush was gigantic for them last year. And then the coming out party of the other lot, you know what I mean? So, you have that coming out party too. So to me, I mean, that's a tough place to play. A good defense. I'm going to say loss, 4-1 right now. There's got to be losses somewhere. So here's one right here.
And I would be accepting of this one. Exactly. And they added.
After being 4-0, I mean, you're just going to be pissed off now. You know what I mean? There's going to be people.
We want to win this PA one.
Yeah, fire Doug. Yeah.
Oh,
God. You don't go 16-0, you're going to hear them. Eagles don't go 16-0, you're going to have these people coming out.
Better, if we had Nick Foles, we would have won undefeated. Nick Foles.
Yeah, those guys.
He would have never stayed healthy, but we would have somehow won. But you guys mentioned it. It's going to be a tough one, and they have Connor, and they added someone like McFarland behind him. They're going to have a nice 1-2 punch there, and they've got the receivers we talked about. So it's going to be a tough matchup. The defense, Bush, my Lord, Watt, Minka, Fitzpatrick. So I'd be accepting of a loss here as well. I think 4-1, you got to be happy about that, especially with what you're about to deal with next. But, us stealing Javon Hargrave for them, I think that's going to be a huge loss for them. Obviously, we talked about him earlier. Going to be a great addition for us. I think he's going to feast. So thank you, Pittsburgh, and we will see you in week 5. But then week 6, we're going back home. But we got the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson, we all have seen what this guy has done. This defense always seems to be pestering people. Added Calais Campbell, Michael Brockers. They're just making moves, man, and they look scary. They added Patrick Queen, a guy that a lot of people liked. J.K. Dobbins, another guy that people really liked. So Ravens look like they improved, and that is very, very scary. So this might be another place that I would be accepting of a loss, even though it's home. But it looks like this would be our first home loss, right? So, wow, that's a tough one. Man, Brian, you look like you got something to say. Why don't you lead us off?
It's scary because, they were a top 2 offense last year, and they got better getting J.K. Dobbins.
We should have J.K. Dobbins, but that's besides the point.
How about it?
It's going to be, I don't want to say it's going to be an embarrassing loss, but I think it's going to be a little bit of a reality check for the Eagles because, like you said, this defense always seems to be good. They're finally getting their offense where they want it to be. They got the weapons pretty much in place. Now you got Mark Ingram with J.K. Dobbins in the backfield. Lamar Jackson is going to do what he does. It's just that's going to be it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a very tough game.
I'm at a loss for words myself with you. Definitely a tough one. I mean, if you struggle with a guy like Russell Wilson, just imagine Lamar Jackson getting better. So, yeah. Tom, what are your thoughts on this nice home game? Another 1 p.m. game against the Baltimore Ravens.
Well, I mean, listen, they're a really good football team. So I mean, and I expect to be a really good football team too. So I expect to be explosive on offense as well. Now, what they lack at wide receiver, they make up in everything else they do. They make up in their creativity. They make up with Lamar Jackson's running ability. They make up with all that. We're built with some speed here, but it's tough. This is a tough one. I'm gonna have some other wins here. There's got to be other losses on the schedule. I'm gonna put this one down as a loss. It's another really good coach football team. Not that we're not, because we are. But this is a game where I could see us, another slip up at a close loss here.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you, both of you. It's just gonna be hard to watch. And I'm not saying I don't think we could step up and come in and fight. I just agree with Tom. They are very, very, they got their trick plays, they got all that. But honestly, at this point, if this defense really does start playing up to what we think they could, and if we do answer those question marks at linebacker and we know what's going on in safety, hey, maybe we do have that answer. But I agree with you guys. I think this could definitely be a loss for the Philadelphia Eagles. Unfortunately.
4-2 right now. That's where I got them.
Yep, and I agree with you. I think 4-2 is a good place to be. Rob's down here at 3-3, and even if you are 3-3 at this point, you can't be mad at yourself, because I'm sure Rob probably has us. Maybe he doesn't, but maybe you have us losing to the Steelers, the 49ers, the Ravens. Those are some pretty damn tough teams. So it's not that I like it, but I could totally get on board with that. I think that we definitely catch some L's there. It's gonna be tough, but you know what? If we're still in this division, we're still in the hunt. So I'm fine with it. We just keep fighting in our division, and this will make us battle tested. So I'm looking forward to those matchups. And then after that, we're at home. New York Giants, new head coach, and Joe Judge, guy that's been with the Patriots for a while, used to work with Nick Saban. So guy that's been around some great-minded football guys. Let's see what he's got. He's got Jason Garrett with him there. We're going to see what these guys got. Made a couple additions. Blake Martinez, Deion Lewis, woohoo. Got Saquon Barkley. Good for you. Danielle Jones. We don't really care. I think that we're going to punch them in the face. We're going to need to after the ass kicking we get from the Ravens. We're going to get pissed off. This is going to be a Thursday night game, actually. So it's actually going to be tougher than, just going in and whooping some ass. It's a divisional game. And when you're playing the Ravens 4 days before, you're probably going to be a little beat up. So it's going to be tough, but I think we could definitely win this one. Tom, what are your thoughts on this home game, Week 7, New York Giants?
Win. I like the Giants a little bit. I like Saquon. I don't love Daniel Jones. I think he's okay. Their defense is a little bit better, but not that much better. Where I think they're at the same level we're at. I just don't have them at the same level we're at. If you want to win divisions, you got to sort of sweep the teams that aren't at the same level as you. And the Giants should not be at the same level as you right now. So this should be a win at home. And a team that we always play the Giants good. So, I'm not nervous about this one. I got us going 5 now. We're 5-2. So.
And I agree with you, 5-2. And you just said it. We don't usually struggle with them. Not saying it's just going to be a cakewalk, like we said, 4 days. But, for the last 6 years, we've beaten them at home. So we've had their number. Hopefully we have them this time. Brian, what are your thoughts on this Week 7 matchup at home against the Giants?
I think this is going to be the type of game where the Eagles get back on track. This is the type of game I like to call a confidence booster for football teams because, they're a bottom dweller. They've done some things to improve. They're in a situation similar to Washington and where they have, new head coach, new offensive coordinator. I mean, by Week 7, they should be putting it together, but it is the Giants. Danny Dimes has the ability to ball out when he wants to. He's got some decent weapons on that offense. That defense has gotten a little bit better. But I think that this is one of those games where the Eagles just come out, like you said, Jimmy, it's going to be a punch in the mouth after a loss. They're going to be angry. They're going to be wanting to get back on track. But I think that's what's going to happen. I got them winning this game here.
Yeah, and I had kind of mentioned about it's going to be tough because of it being 4 days. Sometimes that kind of works in your favor, especially if you lose. But you don't have much time to do all this studying, thinking all this. It's a divisional opponent. You know what? Let's just go out and beat some ass. So I'm with you guys on this one. Let's ride 5-2. And it's going to be a tough matchup because of Saquon. And Danny Dimes, as Brian referred to him, he's not as bad as people say, but I think we got their number. I think we're going to whoop up on them. They made a smart move getting someone like Andrew Thomas in the first round to protect their quarterback, and then Xavier McKinney is somebody that I really liked. I think they're going to be able to use him all over the place. Cam Brown was another nice addition, but yeah, I think we can definitely take these guys. And I think we need to then because week 8 primetime game, Dallas Cowboys at home, baby. What do you guys what are you guys feeling about this Dallas Cowboys game? I'm not even going to say anything about it. Tom, why don't you lead us off? Dallas Cowboys, you suck. Tom, let's hear it. What do you got?
Right now at is this on?
Yep, I can hear you.
I feel like it kicks out on me maybe. So right now I got us 5-2. So this is I think we split Cowboys. So I think we're gonna split home and away. I know it would be the common theme, but just looking at the schedule ahead of time, that's where I have it. But I think we split the home and away right now, and we win this one. I hope that's a damn good football team in Dallas still. All right,
Yeah.
a really good football team. It's gonna be neck and neck for this division. But this is an early win for us here against them, and it takes us to 6-2. And again, there's plenty of other losses on this schedule, but I have this as an 11-win team. So you got to win. You got to win some of these games. And this is one of them. If you want to win the division, back-to-back divisional games. We've been down that road last year a little bit. We know how that is. So I actually like it. So right now, I'm going to call it a dub and say we're 6-2. But remember something, they might be 6-2 after it too. All right, that's all I'm going to say about it. They might be 6-2, or shit. God forbid, they might be 7-1 after. I mean, that's a really good football team. Maybe not 7-1, good football. Like they're 7-0 going in, but they could be a 6-2 football team too going. After it. So
I agree
that's a
with
really good football team.
And I started off saying Cowboys suck. That's just my personal feelings, but they do not suck as a football team. They definitely have gotten some weapons. But here's the thing, they lost Byron Jones. We know that, but they got another good corner in Akuze. They drafted Tavon Diggs. I mean,
they might be better than Jones.
Exactly. He's really good. So, they lost a couple people, but they added Gerald McCoy's on there, who thinks Wentz is better than Prescott. Yeah, they added Dontari Poe. They definitely added some people, and they had a great draft. They did. We can't deny that. So it's going to be a challenge. CeeDee Lamb, a lot of people wanted him. A lot of people are pissed. Ryan, what are you feeling about this matchup against the Dallas Cowboys at home? I feel the same way Tom does, to be honest with you. I think we're probably going to split it, so why not take this one at home? How do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. They always split Dallas. There's always one game that they win, one game that they lose. It's the trend from the last couple of years. I don't think this is the one they win. I think they lose this one at home, and they go to what would be 5-3 in my book. Because it's tough. Like, yeah, it's a primetime game. We know how good Dallas is. They have a new coach who's had some success in the NFL. He's got a Super Bowl. You're replacing Jason Garrett, who didn't seem to have a clue of what he was doing. You go out and you get insurance for some of these other weapons that you have out there. Amari Cooper is a guy.
Real quick, sorry, just keep your thought. Don't forget it. I'll leave the comment up all fucking day. All right, I'm just gonna let you know. I'll leave it up all day. You think I'm like running through your comments? You think it's me running through your comments? All right,
we're getting them all up there.
I don't care. Like, yeah, listen, man, I'm not a big schedule guy. I've made that clear numerous times in my life, but I'll go over it. There's nothing else to freaking talk about. So if guys want to go over it, I'll go over it. Even though I wouldn't do it if other sports were being played. But there's nothing being played. Maybe you missed that. Maybe you missed it. And then look, he's a Carson hater. I mean, that's been mentioned numerous times, saying that the Eagles are playing for Trevor Lawrence. That's comical. There's a lot of teams playing for Trevor Lawrence. I don't believe we're one of them. So you also have the Eagles going 4-12. That's also comical. The lucky if 4-12, 5-11, they get lucky against the Skins twice was another comment.
I think Tom made the comment earlier. We try to keep it with
I will have
education,
another cart. You want to send a carton to A2D Radio? Well, we fully accept cartons here for the smokers that are around. I'm not confirming or denying what I am, but I love that argument about me. We're talking sports, or are we talking personal stuff? I mean,
how about it?
We can air it all out tonight, babe, if you want to.
Birds.
Let's get back. I just have to,
No, exactly. And that's the thing.
Don't come through. I smack.
It's like we know we got haters. We're Eagles fans, baby. We take it all the time. So Tom's going to let you know, we're not ignoring you. We're just keeping it real because, like he said, we try to have more educated talk. There's enough people out here that just talk out their ass and have literally no clue what they're talking about. You may be in that category. Unfortunately, young man, we are in a different category. I'm not trying to say I know more than anybody, but, we try to do our homework, do our stuff. And when there's nothing going on, yeah, dude, I'm going to do a roster breakdown, schedule breakdown. But this is why we also have it live. So you can ask any question, anything you want to talk about, we're going to talk about. But why not have a topic for us to be able to go over some things that get people talking so we get to talk about other teams, some of the additions, some of the subtractions these teams have made. Come on, brother. Try to educate some people and have a good time. If you don't like it, well, I don't know, man. Go watch Days of Our Lives. Sorry, brother.
No, I mean, I'm like at 4-12.
4-12.
4-12. Get it. We sell clues here, $49.99. So you might want to buy one. 4-12, my ass.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree on that one.
Absolutely.
And you know what? How perfect of a time to go into the bye week. Sometimes you gotta dust it off. You get some ridiculous stuff going on, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take our little bye here. The Eagles are gonna deal with any kind of injuries they're dealing with, and hopefully nothing too major. Maybe Alshon Jeffrey started off on the PUP list. Maybe he's coming back now. So it's going to be very intriguing. What do we have us at? Was it 6-2 going into the bye, right? So
I have 5-3.
You have 5-3. Tom and I had 6-2, I believe. Yeah. So you got to feel good about that. And hopefully you do. You come back out and, you got the Giants again. And this time it's in their house. But I'm under the firm belief we're going to sweep them again. So I think we take that one. Brian, why don't you start us off? Sorry you got interrupted last time. Why don't you and Tom, thank you for calling that out. Dude, we keep it real around here. You can agree or disagree, but you don't have to be a clown.
Right. This isn't Bry's first rodeo with me.
No,
Bryce.
not at all.
I love it.
Good. No worries. I love it when he does
it. I forgot we were even there. Thanks, Jimmy.
Love it. I love you guys. I love being a part of this. This is what we do around here. And, we're going to have to agree to disagree that clowns should be talking football. Bro, if you don't like it, go somewhere else. We can talk about – dude, you can tell us how much you love the Cowboys and Redskins. We'll talk about how much we agree with you and how much we disagree with you. Here to talk football, bro. If you can't step up to the big dogs, run along now. Now, Tom, how are you feeling about coming out of this bye? We're actually, 1-3 coming out of the bye under Doug Peterson. So we don't necessarily come out the greatest, but I think this one – hopefully we do, but what are your thoughts on this matchup against the Giants? Again, 3 weeks later.
3 weeks later in their place, we're still a better football team. We're still a better football team. And listen, to get the 11 wins, you got to win games. Yeah, I know we're not good out the bye, but a lot of rest, and then you don't have to travel far, obviously, for a game. So that's always a plus. Because I got us sweeping the Giants, the team we just beat. And I think we'll go up there and we're going to beat them up there again until we stop beating them. That's what game we're going to go up and win. So that's all. I don't care. We beat them everywhere we play them. Saquon's going to have some big plays. Danny might have some big plays, but overall we're a better football team. It's a football game we should win. So 7-2. Let's freaking go. Let's go.
I'm with you. And they're definitely they're going to be a little different. They've got a new head coach, and you're going to see this theme coming up. It's actually been the last few. Because as Brian had mentioned, Mike McCarthy being there in Dallas, we've got a bunch of new head coaches. So hopefully, Jim and Doug can capitalize on this. Not saying that's everything, but hopefully we can sweep these guys. So I'm with you guys, man. I really think that we could win this. I really do. So hopefully we do come out of this bye and turn ourselves 2-3 coming out of the bye. But there's a tough stretch. Absolutely. Tough stretch coming up next, guys. So I really hope that we do win. You know what I mean?
Got to.
So,
I mean, Rob said it right now. I mean, if you want to win a division and prove you're a contender, you got to win a game like this. I mean, I think it's so well said, and he's got him at 6-3. And Prism's got a question for you. They say you get that metal band album coming out.
Maybe. When I was younger, I used to be in a metal band, brother, but it helps me when I'm at the games, dude. I definitely keep it real. That's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. NFL Tank. So that's who we beat. Okay. That's who we beat. And then went out and got the best nickel corner in football, which is factual, not making it up, not being a homer. That's what happened. And then one of the best Island guys in football in Darius Slay. So, yes, I understand who we beat last year. Last year's over with. Okay?
Aaron Rodgers.
We're looking at the future. We upgraded defensively and got one of the better tackles out there defensively on the market, too, especially a younger one. All right. So, and got a Malik Jackson coming back. So, I don't understand, where this is a bad defense now. Remember the upgrades that we've made. All right. I know that these guys are going to get a year older. Well, guess what? We went and got better. I don't understand there's nothing wrong with what we're saying. This ain't the same Eagles defense it was last year. So if you think it is, you need to follow along. There ain't any other sport happening. I don't know how you ain't caught up.
How about it? You complain about making videos, then you're not caught up. Well, watch the damn video.
He says exposed. I just verbally assaulted you. I mean, this could be a crime. The way I've been verbally assaulted you could be a crime. And who said it earlier? Taylor. This is PG-13. It's might not be 13. It's a PG.
Uncle Rico's here.
We didn't get we didn't get the rated R, right? We didn't get the rated R and NC-17. Right, we didn't get the
NC-17.
We're trying to agree to disagree with you.
I mean, you come 5-11, team at best. What are you guys okay? I know you're fans of other teams and you want to come in and the Eagles stink, but I hate the Dallas Cowboys. You understand this? They're a damn good football team and a playoff team, right? Yeah. I can say it. I can say it for the team I hate more than any, right? I can say it all around the league. So this isn't like a homer. This isn't homer talk. Yeah, we're fans. All right. But the 5-11, 4-12 shit makes you sound stupid. Keep commenting. We love stupid shit. Okay. But if that's what it makes you sound like.
Thank you. Throwing some truth bombs at him.
Hey, listen, he covers it all. That's why I just keep my mouth shut down here.
I love it.
He's got it covered.
Usually I'm the Lone Ranger, so it's nice to be part of a team of brothers that actually I can sit back and enjoy the show.
NFL Tech, I'll go live with you any day next week. You name it. You name the day I'll go live with you and you want to debate that this is a 5-11 football team and you think that my tune's going to change because I got you live? The verbal assault's going to even get worse for you, right? Because I'm going, that's what's going to happen.
It's not lying.
The defense is way too good to be in a 5-11 football team. You have you don't want to like him as a top 5 quarterback. He sure hell is a top 10 one. So come on. So where's that 5-11 at? Huh? With a head coach. Who's this head coach? Right? Can you just pass over the head coach like he's nobody? At 3 out of 4 years, been to the postseason and a Super Bowl ring. Right? 3 out of 4 years. And was a 3-1 football team, 4-1 in his first year. Lane Johnson goes out for the year. Season turns. Carson's rookie. Okay, so you just want all the facts to it. Here it is. I'm just going to lay it out to you. A coach that doesn't lose. Okay, a coach that doesn't lose. You understand that? A guy who motivates his guys. All right, that doesn't matter. 5-11. Get a clue. Sorry, I'm done.
Must be dyslexic. Looking at 11-5 there, young man. Because I agree with you, Tom.
I said every year I got him. I said every year when I do the schedules, I got him 11-5, 12-4. Right? That's what I do with the Eagles schedule. I have fun with it. Okay. But at the end of the day, I think they're competing for a division with the Dallas Cowboys, and they're a playoff team. How's that? What am I saying is egregious here? My QB's broken. What's the definition of broken, honey? What's the definition of broken? Define broken to me. He's a broken housewife? What's broken about him? Okay, because I don't understand. Because he got banged up? The whole league, Chip Kelly.
Cheap shot.
Hate him. The whole league. Injury rate, 100%. It's a true fact. That's the injury rate. Get a clue. Go to bed. It's late for you, babe. 8:15. Get
every one of those players in the NFL is at risk to get hurt at any play at any moment.
Exactly. That's why it's ridiculous. We always hope that everyone stays healthy. I hope that
Broken.
Cowboys, Redskins, Giants, I hope they're all healthy, man. I don't. People are just,
I don't usually agree with Colin Cowherd, but Carson Wentz has only missed 8 games in his career in 4 years. 8 games.
seriously, get a clue.
Broken?
2 out of 4 full seasons.
Stop it. He hasn't played less than 10 games in 4 years.
It's ridiculous. People don't understand it. They're not looking at things. They're not putting it into context like we are. We're showing you the numbers. We're showing you the data, making you understand what he did with nobody. Wait till you see what he does when he actually has weapons. You'll be eating your words, buddy. I'll remember. Don't worry.
That statement's not true.
Yeah, exactly.
Two full years.
He was literally 16 games, and he got cheap shot last year. You consider that him not staying healthy? If I come punch you in the face I knock your teeth out, does that mean you don't take care of your teeth right? Nah, just means you got punched in the face. And I'm not saying I'd do that to you. I'm just giving you an analogy. That's all. But, I mean, you got to look at it. It was a cheap shot. Cheap shot. I just don't believe it. And, when you look at this team, we talked about all the additions we made. This team has a number 1 corner now. We have pressure on the inside. Interior line. Fletcher Cox is healthy. He's got Hargrave. He's got Malik Jackson. We've got guys that are going to make this defense better. Sure, a couple question marks around, but the offense is going to make it easier for this defense because, believe it or not, even with this team struggling with injuries last year, they're actually one of the top defenses after the bye last year for a few weeks, and they were really showing up. I was impressed what Jim did with what he was working with. So you got to be real with you. You don't know what you're talking about. So we will continue to talk about what we know about. And, I appreciate you guys coming on tonight because, the football world. Loomis.
Clueless talk. More on talk. I gave you an opportunity. You can come on here. You name the day. You can inbox me, okay? You can come find me and figure out who the hell I am, and you can inbox me, and we'll go live. And you can bring somebody on, and I'm going to bring somebody on. And this will be the conversation. That you think the Eagles are a 5-win team at best is what it looks like. And we'll debate that. We'll debate that live on your terms. You come up with all the questions. You can favor it to try to win it.
Like that.
Everything's in your favor. And you'll still.
The only thing I'm going to say is they had all those injuries last year. Carson still threw for 4,000 yards, which is something that, most top 5 quarterbacks do. And still won 9 games with all those injuries.
Yeah, we know, and that's why we're talking about it.
I don't know.
Brother. But Ron asked a good question here. What are your guys' thoughts on Clowney? We had a show. The first show we talked about this is one of the topics. Do you bring in someone like Clowney, or do you just go ahead and get an Everson Griffin or a Jabal Sheard? There's a couple other names out there. What are your guys' thoughts? Tom, why don't you lead us off? What are your thoughts on adding? Are you in on Clowney? Are you out? Who are you feeling on this?
Yeah, I'm not a Clowney guy. I'll go with an Everson Griffin right now. On like a 1-year deal, and I think that you're going to get similar production at this point. So I think it's a smart way to go too.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Brian?
I mean, I'm all about whether it's Everson Grissom or Clowney, as long as it's not a deal that's going to kill us and still leave us some room to make the improvements we need. I prefer to bring in another linebacker, but if we can get more guys in on the pass rush, get more guys to the quarterback, get that quarterback uncomfortable, forcing throws, making mistakes, I'm all for it. Whoever it is, it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, Bright. It's true. You do have some linebacker issues, but maybe like a Nigel, like Jimmy said, comes back if you really need it. I think you're okay covering because you really got a good cover safety now in Jalen Mills. So I think that's important for us to realize. I think he's going to be a better cover safety than Malcolm was at this point of their careers in terms of that. And he brings leadership and allows Rodney to play a little bit more in the box. So, I think that can benefit you with some tight ends too in matchups where Jalen can match up with some tight ends and stuff like that hurts you. So I think that can help us out a little bit there. And I think our linebackers our outside guys will match up well with backs out of the backfield because they're faster linebackers. So I hope that can help us out when we talk about that one big weakness of our football team, you know what I mean? Which is, hey, can we fill the middle linebacker position? Is it TJ Edwards or is it Nigel Bradham? Like Sean Bradley, stop it. I'm not that dude. I'm not putting that kind of stock into that kind of late round pick to be a starter. Like that's not even fair on the kid nor for the rest of his football team. So we're going to find out soon. But yeah,
absolutely.
I agree with you guys. And what Tom said. You got to look at Will Parks. You got to look at Jalen Mills. You got to look at Kayvon Wallace. These are guys that are versatile guys that can line up as your nickel corners. They can line up as linebackers. It doesn't matter what you want to call them. Jim Schwartz is finally getting himself some toys to play with. He's going to be able to move guys around in different packages, different schemes. It's all going to be about who we're playing, we've talked about this. We broke it down. And that's why I'm excited because, sure, there's some question marks there. But just as Tom mentioned, we also have some answers. Okay, well, let's see what this guy's got first before we lose our minds. But why not bring back someone like Nigel Bradham? Maybe, we mentioned earlier, Deron Lee and Mark Barron, some guys that can cover because that's where the question marks are. But I'm kind of liking, talking about that safety talk, and I'm really intrigued to see how Jim uses them. So we shall see.
And the extra corners too, Jimmy, and like some corners that get like pushed back because of Coleman.
They'll be moving safety, this guy. Yeah.
Yeah, like now they can play tight ends. They can come in different packages. So you're running. Maybe you have a one linebacker on the field. So there's a lot of different ways.
You and I talked about this week 1 of On the Road to Victory here. Exactly those corners. Because look at it, Nickel Roby Coleman. Now you get to use someone like Cravon LeBlanc and Avonte Maddox. You're hoping he wins number 2, but if he doesn't, guy can play safety. He can move around. You're seeing these guys move around. So exactly, Tom. Great point. Thank you for bringing that up. So I'm very, very excited. 12-4. Low 9-7. See, and that's very realistic because we went 9-7 last year, but we dealt with injuries. And if injuries happen again, sure. But look, we talked about the changes we've made across the board, not just players, not just coaches. We even changed the medical staff. We know where the problems are. So we feel like, so far we've made the moves that we needed to make, and we talk about, throughout this video signing guys. We've been talking for a couple of weeks. Obviously, Corona, all this stuff has made things be on hold, but we talked about we were going to wait till after the draft anyway. We understand that the compensatory pick formula, you wait for that, so it doesn't affect that. We did have 4, but now we have 3 because Timmy Jernigan didn't sign with the Texans, and even if he does sign somewhere else, it doesn't matter. So keep that in mind. We're not done. So I appreciate you guys bringing those players up and those question marks because we're not done. We know we have questions. We're just talking about, and that's why at the beginning of the video we said take everything with a damn grain of salt. And Taylor says they're not trying to be a homer, but they think we can surprise a few teams. And I think so too. But, for the sake of this video and understanding that we're going to have a couple losses, I felt I'd rather give those losses to better teams than maybe the surprise ones that we'll get in the division or whatever will happen. But I agree with you. I think this team, and I think all of us agree that, we're going to be a lot better than most people think because, not just the clouds saying dumb shit that haven't watched anything, but people that actually understand that this team added where they were lacking. And with all the speed we added, watch out for Carson Wentz. That's the whole question here, guys. Agree or disagree. And we all agree that he's elite, but I think the whole world's going to have to finally just admit it. So now back to the schedule here that some people are a little upset about. Apologize, but that's what we're doing here. So you go ahead. We have all these new head coaches. We had 2 divisional matchups, had a bye, come back, another divisional matchup. Now you get another new head coach, Kevin Stefanski. They took Andrew Berry for us, GM, made a couple moves, added Austin Hooper to that, Jedrick Willis as their first-round pick. They got some smart moves, I think. But Baker Mayfield, I don't know, you better start stepping it up. The kid's got talent, but they better start blocking for him. He's got OBJ, Jarvis Landry, and Joku and Hooper together. That's going to be nasty. Chubb and Hunt. Oh, yeah, they're going to be scary. So this is going to be tough, man. Going on the road to Cleveland, I am very intrigued to see how this goes. Tom, why don't you let us know how you feel about the Cleveland Browns, Baker Mayfield?
Yeah, this is going to be my last pick too, and I'm going to leave you guys.
Yeah,
I'll leave the suspense. Now I'll tell people the rest of my predictions at least. But I think this is a loss going to Cleveland, and I like Baker Mayfield coming out of college. Obviously, I like him year 1. Year 2, it looks like he just got the shit kicked out of him all year. So this is a big year for him too. They got to protect him better. That offense is dangerous. They got a good defense. So, to me, it's a tougher game than it looks on the schedule. Being what do I have, a 7-2 right now, right? So, being right 7-2, I think. So, being 7-2, this is a time where you toss in another loss. So I'll go loss here in Cleveland. A team that could surprise a lot of people this year or could underachieve again. It's like that unknown You don't know what you're going to get out of them. So I'll take the shot that they're good and maybe they live up to some potential. And this is a loss for us.
I can totally understand that. And, you
I
talk
11-5. Sorry, go ahead.
No, but I was just saying, I agree with you. I think Baker, and adding someone like Jedrick Wills and then also Jack Conklin to that line, they're trying to protect him. So they're giving him time. I think they could definitely be a tough test. Brian, what are your thoughts on this matchup with the Browns?
I definitely think they could be a tough test, but I think on paper they're better than they've been showed that they are. They were projected to be a Super Bowl team last year, adding OBJ and Jarvis Landry into the mix. Nick Chubb has shown that he could be a solid running back in the league. I've always liked that defense in Cleveland. That Cleveland defense has been keeping them in games for a few years now. And, the one thing that hurt them was not having the offense. Well, they went out and they got the offense. They're just not clicking yet. And I think you see them take the next step. I think you see Baker Mayfield definitely take a step forward next year, but I see the Eagles pulling one out in the dog pound. Putting them at, I believe, 7-3 for me.
Jimmy, okay, then I have him 7-3. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so Jimmy made a good point. You go out and you get 2 offensive linemen, right? And you really address it. Like everybody had him as paper champs last year, but nobody looked at how bad that offensive line was.
Yeah.
And how important that is to your team's success because they had no offensive line. So that's the 2 big pieces that are the additions that are quiet additions to the Cleveland Browns that are the most important, in my opinion, because all the skill position players are there. All the pieces are there. Like Brian said, the defense is there. So they've kept them in game for the last 3 years. Yeah. So the defense is better now than they were. So I'm gonna have this a loss 7-3, but I have this 11-5, 12-4, depending on health. Like if health all there, that's my ceiling too. Yeah. I have a 12-4 ceiling. If health is a little sketchy, I still think we can be a 10. So a 10-win team. So it depends on health, but I have us at 11-5, 12-4, boys.
Yeah, even to your point, Tommy, even a couple of years ago, before they drafted Baker, when Tyrod was quarterback in the Cleveland Browns a couple of years ago, they could have easily started off 4-0. Going into last-minute field goals that they couldn't hit. Yep. Defenses are keeping them in games.
Yep, you're right. You're spot on. You're spot on, brother. They can be good. They can be good now that they got some offensive line, like Jimmy said.
Yeah, I totally expect Baker to take a step forward this year.
Yeah, and I think Stefanski is going to definitely help him. I think that they added the pieces around that they finally, like Tom said, paper champs. But when you look, you got to look at the most important thing: protect that quarterback if you want him to make plays. So, yeah, they definitely addressed that. Tom, I know you said you can only chill for about an hour. I appreciate you staying on for this long. So thank you, brother, for tuning in. And hopefully we'll see you on this show again, maybe in the next couple of weeks here. But if not, everybody knows where to find you on A2D. You can say your goodbyes then.
Listen, brother, I'm around on Fridays. I'm here. I'm around. So whenever you want me to circle back, I'll be here. I know, guys like Brian and Rob and Ryan and Ralphie, get some of these other guys on too.
Yeah, we talked about that before the show. I'd love to, if you give me a list of people that would love to come on, because I'll just stop being shy and finally just ask people. But I appreciate you guys wanting to come on. So we'll definitely keep the guests coming.
If I wasn't getting bit by some goddamn mosquito in here for the last 10 minutes, I would have just be like, you know what? I'm going to finish the schedule what you got, right? And have some freaking class. And I'm getting smoked by something, and I can't figure. It's on my back now. I don't know.
His ass to come back.
I don't know, but that's where I ended at though. So I can 11-5, 12-4. That's who they are. That's who they are.
Yeah, I could definitely see 11-12 game ceiling, 9-7 at the worst.
And if they're 12-4, that means Carson Wentz is healthy. That means he's slinging it all around, and that means he's an MVP candidate. So haters, I'm gonna leave you at that. Boys, love you. I'll talk to you later.
Love you, brother.
Later, Tommy.
I'll talk to you later. Now, I wasn't sure if it was you or him that had mentioned, that defense also is very good. And, they got better. They added Grant Delpit, Joe Phillips. So they added some young guys that could definitely help that core. So I'm intrigued to see what we get in that matchup. But it could definitely be a shootout. for
No,
what.
absolutely. There's a ton of potential.
Yep.
Ton of potential. It's like the Cincinnati game. They got the weapons on offense. They got the weapons on defense as well. Well, Cleveland's got more weapons than Cincinnati on defense, but
Yeah.
There's the potential to be a shootout. There's the potential to be a really good defensive game. It's this Cleveland game. It's not like playing them a couple years ago when they were trash.
Yeah. How about it?
They're a good team despite what they showed you last year. And again, a lot of that has to come to the fact that Baker Mayfield got beat up. That offensive line was trash. So, if they went out and actually made the improvements that everybody says they did, you see Baker Mayfield, he's going to stay in the pocket. He's going to be making the throws. OBJ is going to probably get open if Jarvis is getting doubled. Jarvis is going to be open if OBJ is getting covered. And then a healthy David Njoku, who they didn't have at all last year, except for, I think, week 1?
Oh, man, yeah.
There's another weapon there. And then, Nick Chubb. You have Nick Chubb. You have
Kareem Hunt.
who? They have another running back. I'm blanking on
Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt, who is a very talented running back. Spent most of the season suspended. Getting back into it now. Now he's going to be back for a full year. He's trouble. So the Cleveland game could go either way, but I could see it being a win for the Eagles. It's starting to build momentum. Going, you're getting into week 11. You're starting to get into that home stretch for the playoffs. So
yeah, definitely. And what do you have them at now?
7-3.
7-3. Yeah, and I have them at. I think they're going to win that one, so I have them at 8-2. So it's going to be a tough one. And they added defensive players. They added offensive where their holes were. So they definitely improved. Like you said, this could be like, the Bengals, a young quarterback. Looking at, the weapons he has, it's going to be tough for our corners. So
yeah,
we're going to definitely have our hands full here. And, it's going to be a barn burner. I can't wait to see it. And like you said, it's not the Browns that we grew up watching.
Right. It's, that's one of the, I have a few games highlighted on the schedule. That's one of them.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Andrew Berry, that was a guy I really liked in the personnel department. Watching him go to the Browns, I thought he was going to do some special things there to improve that team and help Baker. So they did just that, man. So, it's going to be – at least we have Darius Slay to take on at least OBJ or Landry, one of them.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that offense that have him flip-flopping on the field all the time. So, I'm sure Darius is going to be on at least one of them.
Yep. And, we've got another versatile quarterback now, a mobile quarterback in Baker Mayfield. We talked about the struggles we have with those kind of quarterbacks sometimes. So hopefully we learn from Lamar Jackson and we can get to Baker Mayfield. Tom had mentioned, one of his big problems was getting sacked. So,
yeah, I mean, Lamar, he's going to be tough to get. But, Baker, I think is going to be a little bit easier to get, sacked. Sure. So,
definitely. So, looking like we're – going to start off pretty well here. Taylor says here that, if our wideouts get separation, we'll be back 2017. I think people forget what we looked like in 17. Torrey Smith, Alshon Jeffrey, I think we're a lot better now, to be honest with you. Sure, Blunt, and then, after we made the trade for Ajayi and stuff, but this team was battered and bruised by the time they won the Super Bowl. So just think about what they look like now. If we stay healthy.
Yeah, I mean, Alshon Jeffrey played with a separated shoulder the entire season?
He's coming back this week. Oh, no. He might get surgery. No. That was rough.
Yeah.
That was seriously rough. So it's like you look at how rough that was. So they went ahead and got someone like Jalen Reagor, traded for Marquise Goodwin, drafted Hightower and Watkins.
Got some speed, yeah.
We got speed. So hopefully these guys will teach them. They stay healthy enough, Jackson and Goodwin, that they can hopefully teach these guys to be the future with Carson Wentz. So I think people are in for a rude awakening once they see how much separation these guys really can create. So
absolutely
pumped about that.
And then you hopefully get your big body back sooner than later in Alshon Jeffrey, and you got your guy who could box out. You just throw that little slant in the corner of the end zone. Alshon's going to go up and compete for that ball.
Exactly. And, that's the thing that we talked about. Who knows where he starts out this season, because we don't know if he's coming back from that list, Frank. We don't know if he's going to start on the PUP list. We don't know if we'll start, if he comes back, gets hurt, and then has to end up on IR. We're like, But we want to make sure that these young guys also get an opportunity. So maybe he does, So it's very intriguing to see what happens. But when the guy's healthy, pretty damn good. And we can hope that he can teach J.J. Arcega-Whiteside to, pretty much be that mold of him and take over, because I didn't give up on him. I thought the coaching was to blame last year for J.J. Arcega-Whiteside's struggles. In this offseason, I think we found that out through a lot of reports that it really was the coaching and a lot of issues with him being young and not being taught what to do.
Yep.
So,
I mean, a lot of guys gave up on J-Jaw, and it's his rookie year. It's only 1 year. Like,
ridiculous.
like, come on. Like,
he's a smart kid. I think he's going to figure it out. And when he's not the focal point, when there's not so many injuries, we talk about Shelton Gibson coming back. Like, come on, man. This poor damn kid is out there getting thrown in the fire. So, I think
it's when you're competing at that NFL level and you drop a couple balls, which was the storyline of last year, it's tough to build that confidence back up. So, confidence is key when you're a wide receiver. You got a ball coming right at you, you're feeling confident, like, oh, I got this ball. Boom. It's different from like, oh my God, I got to catch it. I'm tired of hearing the boos. I got to catch it. Confidence is key in all sports. Especially like, I'm a hockey guy. So, when you're a confident hockey player, you're taking better shots. You see better lanes. You're more likely not going to over squeeze the stick, and you're going to get a better release on the puck, and you're more likely going to wind up scoring a goal. I feel like it's the same way with playing wide receiver. You're not in your head. You're playing a confident game, and you're catching more balls. You're not even thinking about it. And I think that's what happened with Whiteside last year, overthinking.
Yep. I agree with you. And I think those issues are going to be addressed. I think Aaron Moorhead being the new wide receivers coach is going to be huge. I think, Matthew Harper being the assistant wide receiver coach, he's moved up in the ranks, going to be really big for these guys. And the competition, we got 14 guys all fighting for a job. So going to be very, very intriguing at the wide receiver position. So we talk about those shootouts. At least we're in shootouts, man. We didn't have any wide receivers last year. So
yeah, absolutely.
At least we had this conversation. But after that matchup, we've got our one and only Monday Night Football game. And that, we talk about the Browns being tough, but this is going to be one of the tough ones. One of the toughest ones we have. Seahawks beat us 2 times last year, once in the regular season and in the playoffs, both by the score of 17-9. Clowney's still a free agent. They've lost a couple people, added a couple people, Greg Olsen, Philip Dorsett, things like that. But they're a tough matchup. Russell Wilson, we know what he does to us. Everyone knows about DK Metcalf. We've heard all about it. We know what these guys
Lockett. Yeah.
We know. So what are your thoughts on the Seattle Seahawks?
I think last year we hung with them, both in the regular season and in the postseason. We hung with them. Yeah. We were never completely out of either game. And I think you're going to see a lot of the same thing. I think the Eagles-Seahawks is going to be another similar type of matchup. It's going to be a close, low-scoring game. But I think the Eagles are going to wind up taking it this time. Honestly, I think if Carson doesn't get hurt in the playoff game, they were playing well enough that they could have pulled out that victory. And I think you're going to have a healthy Wentz, hopefully a healthy offense. I think they squeeze one out and they steal one from Seattle in primetime on ESPN on Monday night.
I can dig it, man. I think this is one I was struggling with because it's going to be tough. We talked about that, but you said it, man. Nail on the head. If Carson Wentz is healthy, we beat him, man. Even Josh McCown almost did that, and we found out that he was injured at halftime. So it's like, oh my God. Like, we know what would have happened if Carson was healthy, but we're not going to play Captain Hindsight.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. The regular season matchup, if it wasn't for that one run by who was it, Robert Turbin, it was like a fourth quarter touchdown or something like that.
Yeah, about it.
If Ronald Darby came up and actually showed proper tackling mechanics and not just throwing a shoulder at him, you could possibly be looking at a different ending to that game. That was I was sitting at a bar on Monday. What was it? It was the primetime game. It was either Sunday or Monday night, and I'm just watching it. Jaw hits the bar. No lie, Jaw hits the bar watching that, and I was just infuriated. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, did Ronald Darby really just in an open field try to throw his shoulder at a fairly big dude in Robert Turbin and lost it? You got to pull that guy down, especially when he's running full speed like that. You got to wrap him up.
Thank God he's gone. I was at both of those games last year, and when I went back to the playoff game, I'm like, all right, it's revenge. Here we go. Not so much. And yeah, I wanted to go down and throat punch Ronald Darby myself when that happened. So I'm glad I went out. I can't wait to start our season burning him and end our season burning Ronald Darby. How many times? I tried to stick up for him, and then it was just like, you know what, dude? There's nothing I can do.
It's hard. After that, I gave up. I'm like, you have no proper tackling mechanics. You're throwing your shoulder at a guy that's rumbling, stumbling into the end zone. Like, come on, dude. Come on.
So rough. I mean, why?
But they hung with them. They hung with Seattle. So I think they hang with Seattle again and steal one.
Yeah, and
it's at home too, right? It was at home, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah,
our house again. You can't let the fans down again, man. Like, you just can't do it.
No.
So I agree with you. So you got him at 8-3. I've got him at 9-2 at this point. Tough matchups though. Not saying that we're going to easily get there. This is definitely what it is. This is all predicated off of us staying healthy, and that's the name of the game always, especially us the past few years.
And it's tough. It's tough in the NFL to stay 100% healthy. We're going to have injuries here and there. But hopefully nothing serious.
And every team has it. And we talked about that earlier. It's like, oh, this guy's injured. Sure, there's some guys that are very injury prone. When a guy has only missed 8 games, give me a break, man. It's stupid talk. That's what you're talking about. Yeah. 2 full seasons. And what was killing me was the Nick Foles people, because I was trying to tell them, I'm like, have you even looked at Nick Foles? Like, how many games he's played? He's never played more than 12. They're like, no. It's like,
he hasn't.
All right, just trying to make you understand. And then literally I felt bad because I was one of the only people that believed in Nick Foles. Then I have to trash a guy, and then he gets hurt right away. And I was like,
is it really? Are you really trashing him though? Like, it's a fact. He's never played a full season.
Putting things into context. Exactly.
Even his 27-2, which was his best year, he didn't play that full season. He's never even thrown over 3,000 yards in a single career either.
Facts. Give it to him, Brian.
It's not trash. It's not trashing Nick Foles. It's reality. It's real talk.
Hurts.
I love Nick. I appreciate what he did. I love that he brought a Super Bowl to Philadelphia.
BDN, baby.
Let's be real. Like, Nick Foles isn't better than Carson Wentz.
Not by a long shot. To have that conversation, and the fact that people still bring that up makes me want to punch myself in the face just so I don't have to hear that conversation. It
kind of makes me want to punch a baby.
Yeah,
that's terrible, and I never want to punch a baby.
So please don't do that.
I never will.
It makes you go nuts. I hear you. I know.
It just drives me nuts.
It drives you crazy. It makes you want to do outlandish things because, seriously, there's no debate there. And we all love Nick Foles. We were rallying behind him. We saw what he did, but we're trying to keep things real around here. And that's just one of those real things. And, we talked about this being a home game. We talked about Carson Wentz. Hopefully, at this point, he's showing the world he's elite. He's just dominating those top defenses. Sure, they added guys like Jordan Brooks in the draft, but still not the Legion of Boom they used to be. So see if we can whoop up on them. Maybe it's a shootout. If we can shut that run game, you talked about one big run was pretty much their run game. Close games, 17-9. I think we could take them. Go 9-2.
Absolutely.
8-3. Either one, great for me.
I mean, the only problem is you got to avoid Bobby Wagner. That's the big thing. Is you got to keep Bobby Wagner out of that game.
Yep, he is the worst. He's so good, man.
Long drives, sustain long drives. If you want to, got to tire him out. Yep. He's one of the top linebackers in the league for a reason. He can stop the run. He can stop the pass. He can get pressure on the quarterback. He's one of those linebackers that he does everything. He's what you want out of a linebacker.
Yep, he is. He's probably the best. And with Kuechly retiring, he probably takes that easily. The guy does it all, like you said. So that's going to be tough for us. Hopefully Miles tears it up because we're going to need him. We're going to need all of them to step it up. Yep. It's going to be a tough matchup there. And this is that huge stretch where it's tough for us that we talked about. And then this gets rough because now you got to leave home after your Monday night matchup. Hopefully you walk away with a win. Now you got to go to Lambeau. We somehow beat them last year. That was amazing. Carson played well. Let's see what we do against Lambeau in Lambeau this year. It's going to be a tough matchup. Aaron Rodgers, really did. They got Jordan Love for him. How nice of them. But they did get A.J. Dillon. That was a good pickup for them. Good running back. I'm intrigued to hear your thoughts on that Week 13 matchup in Lambeau Field against the Packers.
Well, last year I don't think their defense was as good, which is kind of why Carson kind of picked them apart, and Jordan Howard had the game that he had.
Sure.
What was it? A 3-touchdown game by Jordan Howard?
He tore him up.
Obviously, you're not going to have Jordan Howard this time. I think Miles could potentially have the same type of game. But they did get better in their secondary in this offseason. Offensively, if you can shut down Devontae Adams, I think you can pretty much shut down Aaron Rodgers. There's no real other threat in the passing game outside of Devontae. And obviously, the running game, A.J. Dillon, you bring him in. You have who the hell's their starter from last year? Aaron Jones. Who's shown that he could be, a good runner in this league. I think that's their biggest threat is their running game. And if you can keep the pressure on Aaron Rodgers, I think you pull out another win in Lambeau.
That's a tough task. And we did that, and I can't believe we did it.
Yeah.
But like you said, I don't think their defense was as good as they were, but they did lose someone like Blake Martinez, which was such a huge key to their defense. So I'm intrigued to see what it looks like next year. But yeah, you said shutting down Devontae Adams. That's going to be a tough task. They got Valdez-Scantling, some other good names there. So Aaron Jones, like you mentioned, going to be a challenge.
Yeah, Devontae Adams still went off on the Eagles last year as well. So, even if you don't shut him down, you still got to keep, putting the pedal down on the run game and not give up on it like they did last year. And you could wind up having Miles having the same game that Joho had last year.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. So, that's a tough one for me. And, oh, man, I wanted to split. But I think we beat Aaron Rodgers, and I think we go 10-2, man. It's hard for me, but I really think this team, if healthy, we have to keep coming back that. We're going to keep saying take everything we say with a grain of salt because this roster isn't even done yet. We have no clue what's going on. Just talking about what we see now and what we've got.
Yeah, there's still 28 million left in the cap. So
23.5, I believe. But yeah,
you still see guys coming in. So
yep.
Guys coming in, maybe guys go, maybe a trade. You never know.
Exactly. And so we're just looking at what we got now, but we made the additions we thought necessary. And the question marks, they can be handled by kind of plugging it with other things. We talked about the safeties, the corners, things like that. So let's hope that we get things figured out. And by the time the season starts, we're like, oh, that's what we did. So for now, that's why we throw in these other things. We're not just talking about the schedule. We're taking your guys' questions. We're doing what we can. I think Tom might have been in charge of the questions. Sorry, I'm not answering anybody's questions at the bottom. Taylor has been at the bottom for a little, but I'll keep trying to look over and make sure I try to answer you guys. But, then you come home, and one of the teams I cannot stand the last few years, the New Orleans Saints, they've had our number. They like to talk a lot of crap about us, Alvin Kamara. They got one of the best receivers, one of the best quarterbacks, one of the best running backs. Their defense started to improve, actually, too. They've had our number like 7 out of the last 9, 5 out of the last 6. So, it's been a tough one. So, what are your thoughts on this? At least it's at home. Thank God a dome team has to come face us. So, what are your thoughts on this Saints matchup? And it's a 1 o'clock game, too. We like that.
This is going to be another really, really tough
Malcolm
game.
Jenkins.
Oh, you just took the name out of my mouth. Malcolm Jenkins coming home for the first time. Since being released, so he's going to have a chip on his shoulder. He's going to play a little extra harder for this Week 14 matchup, but it's going to be another key to this one is getting that defensive line to Drew Brees, making him uncomfortable in the pocket. You give him all kinds of time, he's gonna pick you apart all day, and it doesn't matter because you bring in now you have Michael Thomas, you bring in another guy like Emmanuel Sanders, who's another proven wide receiver in this league, who's coming off another 800-900 yard season last year. Found the end zone a good handful of times, so he's a threat. You got creativity. You got to keep an eye out for Taysom Hill, Alvin Kamara, running, passing. Like he's another one. He's a dual threat. I got to give the Eagles a loss here. I think there's just too much there. There's just too much there for them to handle on the defensive side. Like Tom was saying, I think our defense is much improved. But, unless you get the Drew Brees and you clog up that middle for Alvin Kamara, I think you're going to have your hands full. I think they're going to get their 4th loss against the New Orleans Saints. There's a reason why these guys are also top 5 offense in the league.
Yep. And I agree. I think I'm going to have to give them my third loss here. As much as I want to say, like, yeah, they've had our number. This is going to be the game. They really have had our number. And it looks like they've got better. You know, you mentioned all those names they have. Dear God. And then they had someone like a Ty Montgomery, another trickster.
Yeah.
You know, they can play running back and receiver. It's like, oh, God, my head hurts thinking about it, what Drew Brees can do to you. So, yeah, you got to get to him. And maybe we do. But
they just drafted a tight end too, didn't they?
yeah, I forget his name. But
And Drew Brees loves his tight ends as well.
he can make anybody good. That's what sucks. And you mentioned it, Emmanuel Sanders now. Like, they're just – it's like, oh, God. Like, this is going to be – come on.
Whatever money they're not spending on defense, they're spending on offense.
Dude, they're loading up. So we're going to have our hands full. So that's going to be one of those games at home where we might be going home a little sad. So I agree with you. So at this point, that could definitely be a loss for us. 3 games after that one. Dude. 10-3.
How about you're 10-3? 9-4?
Yeah.
My math is right, 9-4.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's okay position to be in. Look at the teams we already talked about. The 49ers, the Ravens, the Steelers. Our divisional matchups are already happening. Exactly. We played the Giants twice. And as much as we can talk about new coach and they suck, it's a divisional matchup. It's going to be tough. And whether we win that first one, then they're going to come back a few weeks later and be pissed maybe. So,
yeah, I mean, the only one you can really make an argument for is maybe week 1 against Juan Rivera and the Redskins. By the time we play the Giants in week 7, it's going to be enough of a sample size to already know, what to expect from Joe Judge now as a head coach and Jason Garrett as the offensive coordinator. So you're going to have a little bit more to look at versus, Juan Rivera week 1. But, you can look back at the tape at Carolina, but, he's not in Carolina anymore. You don't have to worry about Cam Newton. You got to worry about Dwayne Haskins. So,
yeah. Agreed. So, and obviously, we both were thinking Malcolm Jenkins. It's like, oh, man. We talked about how we're going to try to replace him. It's going to take 3 men to try to do that job. It's going to be tough for us, but he was getting up there in age. I'm not saying he didn't play all of our snaps the last couple of years. It's going to be huge, but we're going to have to get over it. And this is going to be a big one, man. He's going to be playing his heart out. Let's hope Carson can tear him up, man. But yeah, we both have him taking a loss there, and that's understandable and a tough matchup. And we've been going through some tough games leading up to it. So we're going to be battle tested.
This isn't an easy schedule by any means.
Oh, man, I hate when you hear, like, the 10th easiest, but it's got the 12th easiest. It's like, dude, sure. All these teams are changed. All this stuff, like, whatever, man.
I mean, no schedule in the NFL is easy. But, some are easier than others. I think this is one of the tougher ones.
Yep, for sure. And you look at that beginning stretch, it's like, you had a couple of matches where you're like, but then you get the divisional matchups you hope you win. You have a nice break at week 9. Then there's this rough patch again that we're in right now where it's like, we better hope we get at least split these. So, Brian says here 11-5. Dude, I'd love that. I'm thinking 11-5, 12-4, and I'm all over the place every time I look at the schedule. So, just going through it here with Brian, we had Tom on earlier, but it's like, it's going to be close. We talked about Seattle. It's going to be a close one, So, and then the next one, we got to go to Arizona, who we've never won in their new stadium. We remember what Larry Fitzgerald's done to us and everything. But now we've got DeAndre Hopkins to deal with another mobile quarterback. So, oh, my Lord.
See, this offense, this offense is scary. Defense, maybe. This is going to be a shootout because you have Kenyon Drake who can run the ball, who's rejuvenated Kenyon Drake.
Yeah.
You have Larry Fitzgerald, who seems to be, he's getting older. His production is starting to decline a little bit, but he still plays at a high level. Christian Kirk, who had a pretty solid rookie season last year, I believe.
Yep, he was very good.
And now you bring in DeAndre Hopkins. Stop it. This is going to be a shootout. This is where I have an Eagles loss. I think Arizona comes through with an upset.
I agree with you. I also think this is going to be, especially at this point in the season, people are going to find out, they drafted Wirfs, I believe, or someone. They drafted a tackle. They addressed where they needed to. we saw what kind of weapons they had with Kirk and Fitzgerald. Now you get the best, one of the best, at least, receivers in the game in DeAndre Hopkins.
Top three.
Yeah, easily. And then you look at Kenyon Drake, what he did when they brought him in. My Lord, they were happy. Like, oh, yeah, we'll happily fleece you there, Bill O'Brien. Like, oh,
happily.
Oh, my God. I can't believe it. And people said, like, oh, the Eagles should have. Look, they're still pissed that we traded in front of them to take Dillard. So who knows? They weren't giving us that same deal. But
No.
tough to see, and I agree with you. I think that we're going to take another loss here on this one. So I got us going 10-4 at this point. So
I'm at 9-5.
And very understandable. Look at these teams. We could easily go anyway on a lot of these ones. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that Arizona team, man. They got rid of a guy, David Johnson, who used to be good a couple years ago, and they proved what they could do without him. And then you add the best receiver in the game and a tackle to your team, along with Isaiah Simmons was their first pick. Oh, that kid is very, very good. He's going to move all around. This kid is phenomenal. So they've still got Patrick Peterson. They still got a good defense. So we're going to see some – it's going to be a tough one. So I agree with you, Brian.
Jordan Hicks is going into his final year in his contract this year, I believe, right?
Yeah,
he's still
healthy with us.
He's still, he's still that field general back there, so he's still going to cause a problem.
Tackling machine, man. Green Bay Packers 4. Yeah, man. And you look like you're almost on track with what Brian was saying, and I could agree with what we're saying there because it's all very close. It's going to be tough. This is going to be a tough season, man. I don't care what anyone says. Yeah, exactly. These are tough matchups, man.
Man.
And then after Arizona, we both have us taking a loss, and you go on the road in the stadium, you still haven't won it. I don't think, I'm not saying we can't win, but I got to give us some losses here. So I think that could definitely be one of them. A long road trip like that after you just played, the teams we talked about, Browns, Seahawks, Packers, Saints, and now you're going against the Cardinals. Like, damn, that's a rough patch right there. So you're definitely going to have to lose some of them. But then at least you got the Dallas Cowboys on the road too, right? So another tough matchup against a team, we talked about with Tom earlier. We're realists around here. We're going to admit when a team's very good and, sure, they lost people like Byron Jones, Travis Patrick, but they're damn good. They got Ezekiel Elliott, one of the best quarterbacks. Probably going to bring Prescott back, but they got Andy Dalton there now. Who knows? Either quarterback could be good for that team. They got CeeDee Lamb to add with Gallup and Cooper. It's just not going to be good. So we're going to have to step it up. Hopefully by this point, we know who our corners are and we can compete. But we talked about earlier in the video, we thought probably split with these guys. And it just kind of seems like that's usually how we go. And, we're 1-3, Peterson is under Peterson against Dallas. So it's kind of scary. So I think we're probably going to split it with them. And I would have to say that, us taking our fifth loss, 10-5 here. I guess I have us. So it's going to be a tough one, though. But, yeah.
I agree with Dak Attack here. I think week 8, they split for sure because they split every year.
Yep.
I think they take that loss week 8. Dallas comes into Philly and takes it. Yo, what's up, Pete?
What up, Pete?
But I think the Eagles go down to Dallas and they steal one on the road in Dallas. I think one of the biggest things here's the problem of having so many weapons. Somebody's always going to want the ball. And what we've seen from Amari Cooper in the past, last year in Oakland, if he doesn't get the ball, he gives up on the team. We saw it against the Eagles last year at about that same time. He wasn't getting the ball in the big moments. He said, all right, fine. I'm not going to play. So somebody's going to be butthurt at this point. It's probably not going to be CeeDee Lamb because he's going to be rookie. He's going to probably have 700-800 receiving yards this year. Michael Gallup will be in the same boat for somewhere around 1,000. But here, you're going to have Dak close to 5,000 yards. But somebody's going to be butthurt. The big thing is, is Amari Cooper going to actually show up all 16 games?
I think that's true for sure.
But I think the Eagles, this is going to be the battle for the division. I think you're going to get a little extra pep in your step from the Eagles in Dallas, especially coming off a loss from Arizona. So, I think they rebound against Dallas. They steal one on the road. So I believe that puts them at 10-5 for me.
Yep. And here's the thing. Like, I want to say that we're going to beat him, but I just really feel like there could be a split. We could beat him. My earlier prediction last week, and what I've been saying is 12-4. I even at one point was like, if this team's healthy, it could be 13-3. But right now I have us at 5. So looking like I'm going to go 11-5 because it's all predicated off health, and this season's going to be tough. But, you talked about Cooper not getting his. He's also now going to be facing a guy that has shut him down in Darius Slay. He averages like 21% catch rate of his passes against Darius Slay, or 21 yards per game, catching like 33% of his passes, something like that. So it's not good for him, but they've got Gallup. They've got CeeDee Lamb. They're going to eat. So I have us splitting, and if I have us winning the earlier one, I guess I'll go with us losing. But, I saw Dak Attack said, I think we definitely both sweep the Giants and Redskins too. So this game is going to be pivotal for the division. So if it's for the division, I think the Eagles actually win this one. So if we're putting it in that situation, if they're both like 10-5, I think the Eagles do win. So maybe I'll give the Eagles a win here, man. Maybe you've talked me out of it.
I like this. I like Dak Attack's comments because he's a Cowboys fan that keeps it real. So
we keep it
I
real.
like his comments go far. And we keep it real too. Like we know how good Dallas is going to be.
It's going to be a problem, man.
Offense.
And
they're going to probably be a top 10, easy top 10, maybe just outside of top 5 defense. So we know how good Dallas is going to be. We know it's going to be a street fight both weeks. It's going to be a split. They always split.
I feel like it is this year. I really do too. And it's like it really feels that way, and you can't. Oh, yeah, this is definitely what's going to happen. Like I know, and just because that guy got brought up earlier, it's like there's people out there, but it's like, look, we're telling you to take it with a grain of salt. Damn it, we're giving you with what we got here is what we're going on. But when looking at it, we're giving you props, Cowboys fans. We're giving you props, Redskins, Giants fans. You guys have all gotten better in our eyes. So it's going to be a tough division. At least we're not going to be the laughing stock. So at least we can all hold hands in unison and be pumped. And we're going to beat some ass this year. But when you come face us, I can't wait to see it, man, because we're actually going to be primed with weapons. And we beat all 3 of those teams to get into the playoffs last year with nobodies. So
yep, and Dak Attack said it perfect. Got to give credit where credit's due.
You do.
You absolutely have to.
And we got a Cowboy killer, so that he loves the Slay pickup because he knows how much that means to us. And we need it not just against Cowboys. He shut down most of the best in the game. So this guy is going to add some much needed value. He's going to help the corners we have. He's going to make our receivers better. It's going to help this whole damn team. So it's a great addition for us. The best addition. That was the topic last week.
And the one thing that I love about the Slay pickup is he's a leader. I mean, you saw it. What was it? Last week he was holding his own little drills for high school kids.
Yeah.
So awesome. He's going to step up his game and work with the other younger guys on the team as well. So he wants to win, and he came here because he wants to win.
Yeah.
So he's going to do everything in his power to make sure that he finally gets out of the worst franchise in NFL history in Detroit to finally come to a winner.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's beautiful, to see someone like that get out of there when you grow up watching someone like Barry Sanders and Megatron be tortured. So I loved this guy for the last few years and cannot believe I was jumping through the roof when we got him. So really stoked about the addition. Like you said, he's, they made a post about being ready today to work out. So hopefully, there's some videos we're going to have. We're finally getting to see these guys working together. They're doing what they can.
Excited.
So it is beautiful to see, but, great addition. And he's going to literally, like we just talked about, add all over the place. But it's, oh, my God. He's still got it. People, he's almost 30. It's like, he just turned 29. Damn it. Calm it down. He's still one of the best, and it's something we've been lacking. So I don't want to hear it. He's not Ronald Darby. He's not Jalen Mills. He's not Craig James. Damn it. So we got somebody, all right? And we got Nikel Roby-Coleman. It's not just him. So...
And even still, even if, let's say, he does lose a step, Vontae Maddox showed that he could be a little bit of a ball hawk. He can cover. So maybe Slay, shows some little things during training camp that if Slay isn't performing like he usually does, you can have an Vontae Maddox step in. You can have Sidney Jones step in. So, there's different things that you can do with a guy like Darius Slay.
For sure. And he, all those pieces, we broke that down last couple of weeks, they're all going to help each other. Everybody's going to be able to move around. This is going to be beautiful. Mm-hmm. So it's going to help us when we face team like the Cowboys, when they have so many weapons. So I saw the comment down there. The last one was something about Jalen Reagor. someone I was very high on, the guy that I made a video about before the draft that I really think that is going to be the piece we needed. I know some people are questioning it. Totally understandable, but I think he is. Dak Attack agrees. I think this kid is going to wipe the floor with all kinds of people, but he's not going to come in here and just be the focal point. He's coming in to an offense that didn't have any receivers. Now we're getting Jeffrey back, Jackson back, healthy. You know, you traded for a guy like Goodwin. You have Arcega-Whiteside, Greg Ward competing. They got Quez Watkins, Hightower, Rieger the pick. So it's like these guys are going to push each other to get better. And I talked about comparing him to a young Steve Smith. I think this dude's going to create separation, work on all three levels. He's going to be amazing. He's going to be that Z receiver that's always in motion. Is he running the ball? Is he going to be catching the ball and returning it? Are we going to, use this kid? I'm excited talking about him. What are your thoughts on Jalen Rieger?
I love the pick, to be honest with you. Like, I thought one of the things that we lacked last year was an ability to get separation. And I think that hurt a lot last year, despite the fact, Carson threw for 4,000 yards with 14 different receivers. So, an ability to create separation is going to potentially pull somebody off of somebody else. And it could either open up Rieger, it could open up Jackson, it could open up Ertz, could open up Goddard, could open up, a lot of other different scenarios for Carson to throw to. So, I mean, having a weapon like him isn't just, he's going to put up good stats, but he's going to draw attention when he starts really showing some production.
Exactly. That's the thing. Taking off the top, we saw what we did when we were down last year, week 1. Sean Jackson comes out in the second half and just tears it up. Now imagine a younger guy that I think is going to be stronger and better. I think he could break his records. I think this kid could break Harold Carmichael's record over the long run with Carson Wentz. But I saw the comment here. It says, outshining Whiteside. I don't look at it that way. I think he will. But you want Whiteside to grow into that X receiver position. Maybe Hightower pushes him, that taller guy, the guy that's going to line up on the line of scrimmage, Alshon Jeffrey's position. You want Rieger to be in that Z position where he's, off the line of scrimmage, moving in motion, doing all that stuff, getting those bubble screens because, sure, his lack of blocking, he's got a couple things to work on. But I think this kid, like you said, it's not also what he's going to do when he gets the ball. Dude, he's going to take the top off. So it's good. Where are you going to get it from? Because then you're getting it from the tight ends, and then it's going to open up Miles Sanders. I think the world is in for a rude awakening, and I loved that pick.
And to Dak Attack's comment here, oh shit, we're getting G-Jacks back.
Jeffrey,
it's only going to be great for us if he can stay healthy.
Exactly. Everything's predicated off health.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing I like about, bringing in all these guys for offense is, I know we're basically going to be running the same playbook, but it gives you an ability to add a couple plays here and there and extend the playbook a little bit to, be a little bit more creative. And that's something Mike Groh didn't seem to be able to do. Like, you have one of the best guys who can catch an open field in Golden Tate, showing that in New York, that he's still that receiver he was in Detroit. You can't work him into the offense. So, that's a problem. So, now you have a new OC. You bring in Marty Morningweg. You're gonna see some tricks coming out of Doug's playbook this year.
Oh, for sure. You talk about earlier. I mentioned Scangarello. You said Morningweg. You're moving guys. Press Taylor up in the ranks. So you're seeing all this stuff. Now, Prism, thank you for tuning in, man. I remember you from last week.
I love Prism. Prism's the man.
Terry Glenn, man. What a great comparison, dude. I remember Terry Glenn very, very well as a diehard Eagles fan. Yeah, Terry Glenn, great comparison, man. He's tough, goes and gets it on all three levels. He can help in the return game. You can hand the ball off. This kid's going to be great for us. And I'm hoping that Arcega-Whiteside takes over the X and he takes over the Z for the future. Then we get one of these guys, maybe Watkins, Hightower, that steps in, and maybe Ward is the slot for the future. Who knows? But we got to wait till we see these guys. But we're going with what we've seen. And, people want to say, like, you can't break down the roster and the schedule now. Like, oh, can I? Because I just sat here for months upon months breaking down every damn possible thing you possibly could talk about just so I could talk about it.
Absolutely. I mean, OTAs haven't started yet.
And when they do, we'll talk about that,
there's
baby.
nothing to do.
Exactly.
We've got nothing else to talk about.
I've talked about the blessing in disguise that, and it's not. I mean, the damn corona, 115,000 plus people dead, rest in peace, damn. But,
absolutely.
It sucks. But it's like, I got sideline, couldn't work, couldn't do anything. So I literally got to hammer the draft, and I got asked to do a video about what receiver I thought we'd pick. That's why I picked Jalen Reagor, because I thought he'd fit perfect. So for that guy mentioning, like, yeah, you're talking about, well, that's cool, man, because I picked Dillard last year and Reagor this year. So what do you know what you're talking about? I love people like Dak Attack who comes on here, and we actually can have a conversation where he understands what's going on. And he made a comment earlier, iron sharpens iron. Couldn't agree more. We talked about, could this matchup be for the division, really? Sure, the Redskins are next after this. But, this is going to be a great matchup, man. So I appreciate you tuning in, Dak, and giving us, your insight on stuff, because it's been great.
Yeah, absolutely. Dak, we got a ton of different football shows on here. So, don't be shy. You got Birds of a Feather on Tuesday. You got a little mixture of the Fix and the PM on Wednesdays. They like to talk football as well. So, we love to have you, man.
Check them all out. I'm trying to learn all the shows and try to give everyone shouts, little shout outs.
That's perfect. You got me. At the end, I can give you the rundown.
See, and that's the thing. I'm trying to learn more people so I can actually have them on the show too. But it's like I've been doing this myself, so it's awesome to even have people to come on and want to talk about this stuff, because it's like, I'll talk about this stuff till the sun comes up again tomorrow. Like, I don't care. I love my birds. And even if people don't love the birds, it's football, baby. And without it, we're all dying, right? Like, don't you at least want to talk about it? Because I can't take the rest of the shit that's going on. So, yeah, I'm going to talk about something I love.
Absolutely.
2 years ago, and you know what got me through? Bleeding green. So I'm going to bleed green every day for the rest of my life, like I always have.
I mean, how do you think I feel? Prism knows who I am. I saw his Darkwing comment earlier. So he knows I do the hockey happy hour on Thursday nights.
Nice.
He's a regular commenter. So he actually got to get picked on a little bit by Chris Pronger on Tuesday. So
nice.
He's happy about that. I saw your comment. Appreciate you tuning in.
It was awesome.
But me and Tommy were talking earlier about me jumping on the show. He's like, Bri. He's like, what are you going to talk about on Jimmy's show? I'm like, what do you think I'm going to talk about? I'm going to talk about football. He's like, you know how to talk football? I'm like, I can talk football. I can hold a conversation. Like, I'm not even going to sit here in front. I'm humble enough to admit that, I don't know as much as you, Jimmy. I don't know as much as Tommy or Brodo or any of these guys, but I'm the type of guy, I like to learn.
We need different perspectives, brother.
Absolutely. But he's like, you really going to talk football? He's like, I've done 600 shows talking football, and you never wanted to jump on one of mine. All right, well, Tommy, like, with
love it.
Personal. He's like, we've done Super Bowl roundtable shows and stuff. I'm like, not personal, dude. Like, Jimmy shows on Fridays. I happen to be off on Fridays. You host Eagles shows that, usually on days I'm working. There's not much I can do about that. If I was off, I absolutely would jump on. So,
Well, I appreciate it. And last week you were tuning in and you told me, because I was actually making the comments that, like, I don't even know anyone other than Tom. And I met Ralphie. So it was like, I asked Ralphie actually after the show. So hopefully I get him on next week. But, you had thankfully stepped out and were like, hey, man, I'll help you out. And I had faith, I know you're the hockey guy, but it's like, dude, I'm a 4-for-4 kind of guy. And I wouldn't know if I got on your show, I could do what you do. You know what I mean? Like, we're having a conversation though. And that's what I want. Before I came to A2D, I've had football players, but I've also had artists. I've had other writers. I've had guys that, do their own podcast. I'm trying to get all the fans so we can get different perspectives, man. I'm just trying to build this family, baby. And when Tom reached out to me, it was perfect, man. Because now it's not just Eagles fans, because I love all football, man. And I want to talk to everybody, man. And last week it was cool to talk about fantasy, all that. So anytime anybody wants to tune in, man. And if you ever want to come back on, please do come back on.
Absolutely. I'll definitely be back on again. It's all about building the brand. We can't do what we do without the fam. We love the fam. And, we can't do what we do without HUD. So it's about building HUD and not just shows. So,
exactly.
As long as you got the fam here, we're good. We're doing what we do every week.
And I love
what we love every week.
I came on here my first week and I was like, okay, I'll have some people from and then all of a sudden it was like, I had some people from my group, but damn, like, there's just so many different fans, so many people I've never met. But now I'm like starting to recognize names, and I'm like, oh, cool, this guy's
back.
You
got the best fam in the world.
Dude, they're awesome. And I've known that, but I was never a part of it. So it's awesome to be a part of it. Can't wait. So, unfortunately, we went past 2 hours. So why don't you give us, last game of the season. It's at home this time against the Redskins. Sure, they'll probably be a lot better off at this point in time. But what are your thoughts on that final game of the season and our final record?
unfortunately, I see a loss, but the only reason why I see a loss is because I think with the win over Dallas in Week 16, I think that kind of puts us over the edge for the division because it's going to be tight to the wire. I think that's going to be the game that settles the division is Week 16, Eagles Cowboys. So I think you see a lot of the starters resting. I don't think most of them play maybe a series. That's it. You take them out. I think Washington takes this one. Eagles finish at what do I have them at? 11 10 and 6. I think 11 and 5 or 10 and 6, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I've got them 11 and 5 doing this. Like I said, I've said 12 and 4, 13 and 3. It's tough until I see what we're bringing to the table week 1. I'm not going to give a surefire answer, but yeah, right around that area, 10 wins, 11, 12, somewhere in there. But this is a tough damn schedule. I really don't want to hear it from people. Oh, yeah, like they got one of the. I heard someone say it was like the eighth easy schedule. I'm like, according to what? What they had last year, what the teams did. That nothing is the same, man. Don't want to hear it. He talks right here. Chase Young pick. Look at that. That right there. That's going to make them a whole lot better. And look what they already have. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. Josh Allen, Ryan Kerrigan, Daron Payne. These guys are going to come to play, man. So
absolutely. They're like I was saying earlier. Washington, they always have a good defense. Offensively, they still have a lot of question marks. I mean, we know Scary Terry can play. Haskins is going to get his first full season as a starter. Questions at running back. Questions at tight end. I'm not sold on the offense. I'm not. The defense is going to keep them in games, but I still don't think that Washington is going to be – they could be the sleeper team. They can make a run for the wild card, absolutely, but, I don't see Washington really being much of a threat.
I agree with you, and I also agree with Dak's comment. 11 and 5, and beyond that, it's just our love for our teams, and that's the truth, man. I'd sit here if I wasn't doing this for you guys. I'd probably sit here with my buddies, like we could do 60-0. That's if I was drifting out and getting a little wild. We have those conversations sometimes. We could dream, right? But being realistic,
it's all about having fun. Fun.
But more realistic. Brian and I's records at the end here, and Tom's, we're looking around probably 11 wins here, guys, 10 wins. Yeah. If we stay healthy, it all comes back to, does this damn team stay healthy? And that's why we changed the medical staff. We talked about that last week. We changed the coaches. We made changes to where the issues were. So, we talked about all the names, all the people. Brian, for being a hockey guy, you really came on here, provided, what you had. And I love that, man. That's all we're asking. You gave people what you wanted. Maybe I learned stuff today. You learned stuff today. You made me remember things I wasn't thinking of. So love it, dude. So why don't you give people your shout out before I say goodbye? Do your thing, brother.
All right, real quick. You can catch me Thursday nights at 10 o'clock on the Hockey Happy Hour on A2D Radio with Masson Studio Rob Povia. We got a bunch of shows. Definitely check out the show from Tuesday. We had Hall of Fame defenseman and Stanley Cup champion Chris Pronger on. So you want to jump back and check that out. Throughout the week, though, we got on Mondays, we have the Sports Hounds with Rob Brinkman and Brad Ryer. Tuesdays, we have Birds of a Feather. On Wednesdays, we have
caught that one.
The combo of the Fix and AM and the PM. Thursdays, we have Lazy Booking and Hockey Happy Hour with me. Prism knows who I am. Fridays, what's Friday? Who's Friday? You're Friday, Jimmy. And I think the rundown's one day during the week. I can't remember. Lazy Booking, I believe, is Saturday. Or not Lazy Booking. In this very ring, another one of our wrestling shows.
Yeah. Love that.
I believe it's Saturday night. And Sunday is the flagship, Agree to Disagree. You can check them out during the shows all week. Great lineup, great guys, great shows, great insight, great perspective. A lot of fun. Like, fan knows we love you guys. We appreciate everything that you guys do. And always, especially when we have guests, Prism 280, from experience, always comment because you never know. You never know when a special guest is going to, start messing with you like Chris Pronger did. Start busting balls.
Dude, that was awesome. Like, seriously. I got to interview Mark McMillan the other day, one of my childhood heroes. So I can't imagine. I remember I was like, I'm freaking out. But, Chris seemed just like Mark. He came in and made it easy for you. You know what I mean? He was telling the story, getting shot in the child. I was like, I literally, when he did that, I was like, I remembered being like a 12-year-old kid. I'm like, like that. That scared the living crap out of most of us. So
yeah, absolutely. Cool guy, he was great. He was absolutely great. He had fun with us. He busted Rob's balls, called him a kiss ass. He's busting
missed
Chrome
that.
saying, "Oh my God, of course you would ask this question."
That's
Like,
great.
although you saw you saw like me, I was starstruck. I was a little too quiet. Obviously, like, I talk more, but like, I'm a Ducks fan, and this guy not single handedly, but was a major piece in them winning the Stanley Cup. So it was like a huge moment for me. You could tell Maddie was a little starstruck as well. But it was a good time. It was a great interview. He was a great guest.
Yeah, check
You
it out.
definitely have to try and have him on again.
Check on A2D, man. Like all the shows he just mentioned, there are over 13 shows on A2D. We're trying to give you guys everything that your heart desires, from soccer to wrestling, football, basketball.
Kicking the Stateside. That was another show I forgot. Kicking the Stateside's back. They're going to go into their second week back, I believe. They're Tuesday mornings. I believe they're Tuesday morning.
Yes, it was Tuesday because I got to actually check it out the other day.
Yeah.
So I'm still learning new stuff. So feel free to reach out to me, guys, if you are, someone that talks football and want to talk football, because I don't know who the hell to reach out to, but I will get it done this week. I'm going to make sure, to bring in some guests next week that definitely will do what Brian and Tom did today, bring you guys some extra knowledge and bring what they can to the table, which I appreciated more than anything. Brian, thank you for giving the shouts out to all the shows. Thank you for coming on.
No.
Guys, don't forget that we are sponsored by Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC. That is in the Princeton, Burlington, and Cherry Hill locations. You can find them at specializedphysicaltherapy.com. He's our doctor. Make him yours, Dr. Paul Vidal. I want to thank you guys all for tuning in tonight on this Friday night. It's a beautiful damn night. Thank you for staying with us for over 2 hours. You guys have been awesome. I hope to see you again next week at 7. Hopefully, we've got a lot more to talk about, but hey, we'll give you what we've got to work with. So thank you guys again for just literally all the questions, all the comments, everything. And I hope to see you guys next Friday, 7 o'clock. Don't forget. All right, guys, you know the drill. As always, go Birds!